That's it.
Right.
Phew, we are here. We did wonder whether we were going to go live just now because Brett seemed to have loads of problems. He's had to take his camera off and that, but I suppose that's the way it goes. Good evening, chat room. It is Monday the 7th, 2019. We're waiting also for another couple of Australians to join, Owen and Trouble About. And on the panel so far, we have Gathaka, who is an Australian who lives in France. We have our Patricia, of course. And we have Brett, who is in Australia. So hi, everybody.
Hello.
G'day.
Good day. It is a good day.
I'm just hoping you can hear me.
We can.
Excellent.
We've come together, haven't we? And you've been sort of promoting it on your own channel anyway about we're going to talk about, well, what's happening in our world. I have to be careful what I say. So, just lately, you've joined and made your own channel, Brett, and you're making loads of observations, aren't you?
Me, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I've noticed this my whole life, but because I was sort of, immersed in that globe thing, I never really questioned it. I never really thought why it was going on, but I woke up to I woke up about 2 years ago, and the globe was sort of one of the first things to fall, and I've really started to analyse it a lot. And particularly this time of year, the about a month either side of the solstice, it appears to happen where it's just in the southern sky the whole day, apart from the middle of the day where it seems low too. It seems like really, really close to us in the middle of summer, particularly at its zenith. It's really, really low and close and directly above, but the rest of the day it just hooks south.
Yeah, on your I was a bit sort of shocked on when you were doing your observations, and you were telling us that basically it's not like the sun goes right across your sky and off. It just does like a loop up in the sky. It either does it in the north or the south, and it's moving up and down anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to give you a visual, so the way the sun works here, it's always does a hook. During the equinox, not as much. But during the two solstices, it does. So if you picture in the middle of summer, it starts just south of east, and then it sort of hooks around to just north of centre, and then it goes back around to the south, where it does the opposite in winter. So winter, it rises in the far northeast, and then it sort of comes. It doesn't get anywhere near centre at the winter solstice, but it hooks back towards the centre, and then at night time, it sets in the northwest. So it does the opposite, but it's always in an arc.
That's what I was noticing on your on your videos.
What does it do there?
In the UK? Well, from my perspective here, the sun obviously is changing its bit on south to north because it's always going up and then down, isn't it? Up and down that way. But for me, because I know everybody's got a different perspective. I'm not sure how Gathaka can tell us how he sees it in France, because obviously he's Australian, but he lives in France. But for me, it kind of does half a triangle shape. On that run of where it's south to north, it usually meets just on these row of houses past my house and then goes off on this track. So it's like it always comes in like half a triangle, whether it's south or north. And I see it go across the sky and off.
Straight lines.
Yeah, it never sort of disappears just past my house or something like that. I see it come in and go off.
And now, where is it now? Like, what is it? Is it sort of in the northern sky or the southern sky now?
Southern.
Southern. Is it distant?
Well, I can still see it. It just happens to be over there and higher in lower in the sky over there.
Higher in the sky?
No, lower.
Lower, yeah. So it's far. So it's always in your sun's always in the southern sky, or does it go north as well sometimes?
It's quite south at the moment, but as the months go on to about June, isn't it? It'll start coming up in a different place, but going north.
And it goes north of east. It goes north of the east-west line.
Yeah, it comes up north-north-east when it's really summer. Well, when it's June.
So essentially what you're describing to me now and what we're sort of described to each other is that I'm between you and the sun's south of me. That what I don't understand, what I can't grasp at the moment is that how we can both see it. Like if it's south of me, given the incredible distance north-south between you and I can't grasp how we can both possibly see it.
Yeah, and also I was just saying when you disappeared, because we had a few technical problems there. At one time, I can't remember. I think it was about September time. So of course the sun was starting. Well, it might have been July actually, but the sun was obviously starting to go. You know, it was starting its descent back south. But I was standing there and I was watching it go through the valley past me a few miles, well, 10 miles away from me. But it's a good point because it's a hill and I can watch it go off. So in a sense, we're saying, hey, it's going off to America. At the same time, someone in Australia is telling me they're getting light.
And this is the thing. This is what gets me, right? So when it comes up, if you on my video, I superimposed it on the map. You know, the map where I drew the circles of the world and stuff. Yeah. So those circles represented where it's the commonly held view where the sun is at the point it rises, but it's not. It's coming from south of my point, which is around Auckland, New Zealand. And if you continue onto that path, it's just going down to what everyone says is Antarctica. Now, I don't believe Antarctica exists, but it goes down. It's coming down from sort of New Zealand, and then it hooks and it goes down Perth, and it's going down south of South America. I just don't see how it's getting to you, and vice versa. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, especially with how you almost. I mean, like on your drawing, it looked like it was Antarctica way past New Zealand up, and then it went back down again. It didn't go across the plane, did it?
No. So it's the only thing that makes sense to me is that somehow you're south of me.
Really?
It's bizarre. It's bizarre because I just don't see, because it's the only time it's north of me is when it's at its zenith, and at that point it's reasonable to think it could be over the Tropic of Capricorn at that point, but that's its most northern point. So it's coming from the south, it's going to the south, and the further south it goes the whole year, the hotter it gets and the more light you get, and the more south you go, the hotter it gets and the more light you get. Melbourne this time of year swelters. Like you watch the cricket, like the Boxing Day test and the one-dayers in January, and they just swelter. It's like 40 degrees. And Melbourne's one of the coldest places in Australia. The rest of the year, it's freezing in Melbourne. Everyone makes fun of Melbourne and their weather, you know?
He's surely bloody cold in Melbourne, mate.
It does get cold, but you've lived there?
Well, yeah, if you're tough, you wear shorts to work in Melbourne in winter.
But in summer?
People getting around wearing shorts. I'd like to say hi, announce myself, and thanks, Karen. Hi, Brett, and everyone out there as well. To the ancestors as well, the living keepers of the true knowledge, and to look at things from a global perspective or a different perspective. There's many great questions you've put on there, and it's just sort of, I'm a little flabbergasted. But in terms of getting to the meat of the subject, it's for me traveling to and from Europe and Australia for the last 15 odd years, every couple of years. I haven't really tracked the sun, honestly. So some of the questions you've got, it's getting my mind ticking over and trying to get my own perspective through the language, okay? And it's interesting to look at some of the older stories, older maps, and try and put things in perspective. And to have a better understanding of that and the anomalies we're seeing through actual observation is a really good thing. And that's sort of I think what we're all sort of here to do and share that knowledge and become better people ourselves.
Can I ask you, Gav, you're in France, aren't you? So what's it doing in your sky then? How does it cut? Oh, you're saying that you don't know, you haven't observed it.
Well, I've observed it this year and many other years, and it seems to be a bit lower in the sky in the winter. Higher in the sky in winter and lower in summer. Is that right? I think I got that right. Yeah. So
no, well, not in the UK. It's not like that. I just said when it's in the south and it's lower, it's colder, and when it goes north, it's hotter. And the sun is higher.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, sorry, I think I got it flipped around. Yeah, no, it is higher in north in the summer and then lower in the winter, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. That's what. Which
is the same.
I suppose Brett and I was that it would sort of match. Okay,
in the winter. Sorry, the summer the sun rays seem straighter than in the winter. They're a bit more elongated, a bit more vertical.
Yeah, so you're sort of explaining exactly the same concept here, except the other way around. So we sort of it's low in it's in the far northern sky here during winter, and then it hooks south in summer. And you two are describing the same thing the other way around.
Yeah, so you're saying it's lower the south sun in summer, and for us it's higher in summer.
Yeah, it's definitely higher here. No, it's higher in summer and lower in winter here. Yeah. So at the moment
right. Yeah.
At its zenith, it's pretty well directly above us at its zenith this time of year. It's a little bit north, but it's basically directly above us.
The sun's above us in summer. Yeah. Same. Well, it just follows a similar pattern here in Europe.
Yeah, and you guys are a lot. I think you guys are a lot, and I'm using these terms very loosely these days, but as I've said in my videos, I think everything at the moment's up for discussion. So I use these terms very loosely, but you guys are a lot further north of the equator than I am south of it, I think.
Yes. So if the sun was drifting on a track, all suns, what we know as light was drifting on a track, and it was going around a central sort of geocentric model rather than a global model. Of course, we can break down the global model a bit if you want, but I mean, I think don't you need high school degrees and university degrees and master diplomas just to understand one little bit of that itty bitty subject that constitutes our total model of what we know about the world? So it would make sense to me if there was a sun
idea
in the north on, say, a geocentric model. It would be so you'd see it go lower for you if you were in the south, an outer sort of perimeter, than in the north if it was coming closer. So the sun might be doing that as the little figure of eight pattern, the amoeba.
Maybe
technical.
It's because what's clear to me, what's sort of clear to me is that you guys up there are around about, without daylight saving and stuff, you guys are about 10 hours behind us. So when the sun sets here, it's basically rising there, right? So when it sets here, it's going south of here during summer. It's going somewhere south of here, but yeah, it's in your southern sky when it rises at this time of year.
That's quite odd, isn't it?
And it also rises in our southern sky. So it's going somewhere south, and you're sort of seeing it in your southern sky. So it does my head in all this, but it's going south and it's reaching you.
That all seems quite peculiar.
That's what sparked me. That's why I'm doing these videos, because it's Here in winter, everything works good. In winter, everything's fine because it's north of us. The days are shorter. It's colder. Everything's fine from our point of view here. But I bet if you sort of talk to me in your summer about what you're seeing, and I would go, what? Huh? No, that's not right. You know what I mean? And I think summer's for both of us. Summer for us, summer for you.
It's sort of. Yeah, it sort of starts. It seems to, in the winter seems to set a bit more west. Right, hang on. East.
Does it ever go in winter? Because I'm thinking what I'm hearing from you guys is that in winter it's in the southern sky, and then in your summer, in the middle of the year, it goes north. Now, when I say that, I'm talking about, when I say north and south, I'm talking about the east-west line. So picture the east.
Yeah, I've figured that. Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's important to mention as well because I think more observations need to be made. And as I said before, I can't be really. It's like I've done a lot of really curious about a lot of subjects, but some of to do with this particular subject, it's I'm sort of a babe in the water. So I'll actually be looking at, maybe doing a little bit of tracking myself. And, what comes to mind to me is people that are having such measurements. You got to be sure to make sure, it's like if you're in a valley doing a measurement of when the sun rises, it's not going to be the same as someone 100 kilometers away on a mountain on a clear day looking at where the sun's rising and setting. So
we don't know. What I would like to do, my sort of utopia with this is we're coming into a period where we're halfway between the solstice and the equinox. That's around February 6th. What I'd like to do is I'd like for different people that are on this chat now, people that can hear this, to do what I did and do a day in the path of the sun video, and we all collaborate them around that time and then do another one at the equinox and put our heads together and just sort of do something else like this again and see what, compare what we see.
That'd be a good thing. And also to include latitude and longitude and altitude calculations in those, because they could have, you want to try and eliminate the bad variables. The bad variables, or the variables, as you said correctly. Yeah, nice one.
Can I just say that we have another lady joined our panel. It's Trouble About, and she lives in Australia. Trouble About.
Mm-hmm. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning.
Yeah. Trouble About. Where do you live in Australia?
G'day, mate.
I'm in Brisbane. Sorry, I'm a bit late. Still only 7
That's
o'clock.
all. So she's in Brisbane, right?
Hang on.
Yeah,
how can you be late, Trouble About? You're 10 hours ahead.
I'm the next day. I'm still the future. I'm the next day. Tuesday.
And you're still late. I like your style. Welcome to the show.
I actually spent the last 10 years of my life in Brisbane, in a bit of a plot twist. I come back home in May this year, and what I found, at the risk of stealing, sorry, what was the new lady's name again? Sorry,
she's called Gillian. Her channel's called Trouble About.
Trouble About. So at the risk of stealing Trouble About's thunder there, what I noticed in Brisbane, particularly around the solstices, is it was just nighttime like that. It just goes from day to dark like that, and you come back here, and the twilight and the sunlight times are far longer.
Yeah, I've just come back from Melbourne, and it was daylight there till 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and twilight lasts for hours. Whereas here, the sun just goes down, bang, and it's dark, and that's about 6:30, 7 o'clock at the latest at the moment.
Did you happen to notice? Where the sun was when you were in Melbourne? Like at any part of the day? Like, was it directly above you during the day, and did it set well south of west?
It was cloudy every day I was there, except for 2.
Of course.
I did notice that the sun it's not west. It's southwest.
Yeah, and I bet it's further south than what I get here, and I bet it's even further when you're in Tasmania.
Yeah.
And that's why we get longer days, because the further south the sun goes, the hotter it gets, or the further south we see it in the sky, the hotter it gets and the longer your day you get.
Yeah, the day gets longer at the end more than at the start, I think.
Yeah, really.
I don't have to think about that, but because in Brisbane,
Just if you can
daylight at 4:30 in the morning. It's daylight here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. When I was in Brisbane, I used to take a compass. Every time I moved, I'd take a compass. And if I had windows pointing at the east, I wouldn't take the house.
Can I just say that we get a very long dawn and a long going, the night coming. It can take half an hour, 3/4 of an hour to get dark, depending if it's raining or whatever. But it usually takes obviously it's quicker in the winter, but in the summer, it just takes a while. It doesn't just suddenly go dark. It takes a while to go dark here.
I don't know. That mirrors what we say. That mirrors exactly what we're getting here, and up there it'd be even more exaggerated because you're close to, I don't know what term to use anymore, but you're closer to the top of the world than we are the bottom of it.
Well,
yeah, it's the same in Melbourne, but up here in Brisbane it's not. Sunrise and sunset really quick, which is really odd. I don't quite understand it.
But I was saying to Brett that in the summer, Scotland is about an hour more light than us here. And I was telling Brett that, because obviously I've got a friend in Scotland and also another one, Sarah, who's on the ladies' nights. She's in Aberdeen. She doesn't see the midnight sun, but her mum lives in the Shetland Islands, which is just above, well, a bit above. They see a midnight sun. Denmark sees a midnight sun in the summer. So it's
midnight sun.
Midnight sun in the Shetland Islands, but not Scotland.
I'd never heard of a midnight sun before.
Just that the sun doesn't set. It's like a moon in the sky. It can be quite orangey, but I've seen it. Me and my daughter were so flabbergasted because we'd never seen it before. We went to Denmark in about June a couple of years ago. We saw it, so we were out there going, because the sky never gets absolutely dark.
Maybe the north is the south and the south is the north.
Well,
that's interesting because you do have that phenomenon up there, the midnight sun, and it works perfectly well on no model really, because nothing's perfect. Perfection is for the highest octaves that we can only hope to listen to. So our ear is always attuned to an octave. Can we get higher? Can we listen to those higher octaves? Woo! I just sort of pepped it up a bit. But what's great?
Perfect is the earth. Perfect is the earth.
Or should we look at how it's working? It's not working. Many steps to look at. And I hope we can do it equally and not have to pay for our school studies and start learning together as people in this beautiful place and get over our differences.
Can I just say?
We just don't. Can I go first? I just want to before I lose my train of thought.
Goes in the chat room.
Please.
There's a Mike Peters who lives in Auckland, New Zealand, and he said he'd like to chat. He's got his telephone number here, so I'm just going to put it on this chat room.
Yeah, great.
So you'll see that. So he would like to chat.
So a couple of things. I believe the Earth was created by God perfectly. We just don't know how. There's hints in the Bible, but we just don't know how. And the other thing is, I actually believe Antarctica is a hoax. I believe it's a globe hoax. It's also an AE flat Earth map hoax, because there's no documented evidence at all about 24-hour sun. In fact, there's clear evidence there to say that they're deceiving us about the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. You research that for half an hour and you can see that they're clearly deceiving us about the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. So if they're deceiving us, that means they're hiding something. And that means, to me, 24-hour sun down here don't exist. and at some point it stops and you guys get it. So the whole concept of you guys being south of me really resonates, because it could be the North Pole. The North Pole is some sort of magnetic center of the Earth or something, which goes back to the AE map, which doesn't work here. So I think we're just
or the North Pole. Yeah, that's great you said that, because the North Pole, as we consider it, might be actually the South Pole. It might open up in the middle to another world. We don't know.
Correct.
And the suns might be switching across like you see in nature, in the Fibonacci ratio.
I find it hard
because the Bible says God created the earth, but he didn't say that he created the earth the way we know it now, because we live in a world of lies, we live in a world of deception, and we just don't know whether all the land mass, North Korea, for instance, I firmly believe North Korea is a hoax. It doesn't exist. So I think there's places in the world where they say they do exist, and there's other places that do exist where they're not telling us about. And we're just crazy people, with sense.
Be it a hoax or not, we all believed in Santa Claus, and we all believed in the globe, when we were young. But not now. What's weird is none of us go to church. Why isn't that? To go and sing a beautiful hymn, because all those old well, I think it's been taken over, man. It's been taken over because back in the day, we used to get shit going. We had a couple of beautiful buildings. People would come from miles around, sing a tune, get their food.
Churches were never churches, so man likely never worshipped in the way that we've been told we have.
No, it's been taken over. It's got a bad rep.
The churches have only been churches.
That resonates with me.
Because we all built. Think of. Everyone would build the church back in the day. You'd all be putting a hand in to build it,
But it wasn't a church.
Get this right. Get this.
They were already here. So this.
So,
I don't know. Some cheeky buggers got a free ride. It's time to stop that.
That resonates with me because I believe religion's been psyopted and it's been taken over. Get this right. So I'm in the body of Christ. I'm a follower of Christ, but I'm not a Christian and I'm not religious.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how that works.
The most. Can I? I'll stamp something on there because Brett's got a good avenue there, and that resonates with me. So whenever you call the highest or your higher octave or the kisses of your grandmother or your ancestors or just where you are, if you put a name to it, good on you. It doesn't mean that it's going to resonate the same with other people, but when you can resonate, that's when action happens. That's when things change.
That's
to me, you're either creational Big Bang.
That's what we're doing today. By chatting and learning how different everything is and actually talking about it.
Sure. And we're like buddies finding copains to go deeper and deeper into the ocean because it is a deep ocean there. And
I more find Satan and God in law and court.
I can't hear trouble about very well. Are you able to turn yourself up? Because I think I've spoken over you a few times. I must seem rude.
Sit a bit closer to the microphone, Trouble, because I've got your picture on, have you? So just sit closer to the microphone.
I've got headphones on, so I'm yelling as loud as I can.
Try taking them off and just do natural and probably work better.
Yeah.
All right, give me a sec.
That's what's happening with you before, Brett, wasn't it? We had heaps of connection problems. We thought
look, if you've got an hour, I can explain what was happening to me.
Yes, it's bloody satellites in summer go higher in the winter and the lower and just trying to land it on the moon. Yep.
I trust nobody here and nobody in this conversation and nobody in this chat believe man ever went to the moon. I trust that's a given.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think every flat earther doesn't believe we went to the moon. Well, can we just check Trouble?
Hang on, we could have, and in our mind.
1 second, we're just waiting for Trouble. Speak.
Sound check. Trouble check.
Oh, Trouble?
Uh-oh.
Trouble about. No, we can.
Trouble about.
Hang on. We know the moon exists. So to say we don't go to the moon, that's a deep under-admiration of its own potential, because we have been to the moon. We look at the moon. We feel the moon. We don't know what it is because it's the old ancestral knowledge has been taken from us. So we are on the moon. We are with the sun. We are together. See? That's
in
beautiful.
one system.
That's beautiful. When you start clicking, it's like you're like a vehicle, like a beautiful instrument. You just got to learn to play it. You get it. You need juices and stuff in your brain. You have to make yourself flow right. And when you get it going, life's a beautiful symphony of harmony and incredible perspectives that you can just lie back on and float with. It's like the story of Aladdin's magical carpet, because you're weaving with your own mind, you're flying. You think you're not flying, you are flying. This is your dreams where you can fly, Well,
if you were on a globe, you would be flying, because we're supposed to be going, 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. We would be flying.
But we sort of are, because it doesn't matter. We're in the womb of mother. You know where we're made? Macrocosm, microcosm. We're in the womb, and our earth is our heart, and our heart is our earth. And she feels our little hearts beating inside her. And when we beat together and we create a river, we're like fish, man. We can swim against the water, against current, against gravity. Go to the top of the stream, to the top of the mountain. That's where we need to be. Use that vortex, that power. It's like electricity. It's like a lightning bolt struck next to you. And you harness it. That's the reindeer. But other people have been learning these secrets long before us. Collectively, it couldn't happen. The winner writes the history. The winner writes the history. Yeah.
He's actually recording this, and it's sort of blown his mind a bit, and it only works. I also watched the sun for like a year, because I'm, like this room I'm in right now. I'm up most nights, and in summer, the lights come in at 3:30, and then 2 hours later, the sun would turn up. So I've done my own observation, and it kind of blows your mind, because it's always moving, it's always doing different things, and you can only talk about it when you actually watch it. Everybody else is watching videos, and when you actually start doing it, it changes your mind about everything, doesn't it?
What were your major takeouts from that year?
Well, the other thing as well is, I'm sure it's more or less the same for Gathaka, but the Big Dipper, how the Big Dipper goes around my sky, it goes around where I live, it goes around my close. The whole thing goes round, around, because it doesn't go in a circle. It sort of goes south to north, west to east, north to south, and east to west.
What, in one night?
Yeah.
One night it will turn round and bend, and when it's on the left-hand side of my house, it's lower, and when it's on the right-hand side of my house, it's right up in the sky, twisting around.
Wow. And down here, we get precious few stars in the south. All of our stars here are in the north and directly above us. And you look down south, and I know it can be sort of diluted a little bit because of the lights of the ground where you are. But there's a larger concentration of stars in the northern sky than south here. There's precious few down south stars.
Really? What about you? Oh, was Trouble about there? Trouble? I was just wondering what was in her sky. She's obviously just sorting her computer out. Wow, so you don't see many stars at all. There's stars everywhere. If I look, stars are coming in from this direction. That Big Dipper is going around, turning around corners. And then if I actually look south, the stars just go from east to west. It's all bizarre.
The wandering stars, they track a very similar path to the sun and the moon. They just come up sort of around east and set west. They don't really do anything major. They're directly right, or the middle of at their zenith. They don't track hugely north. They never go south. Yeah.
The stars never go south.
The wandering stars. So we get it. We get a few fixed. We get a few of the fixed stars. They sort of when I say fixed, I mean they don't wander like the wandering stars do.
No, they just follow through, mate. They just keep cruising.
They do, yeah. With the wandering stars, they seem to run their own race. They do whatever they want.
Yeah, that's what spins people out a lot, because they're watching the other stars and they watch one, and from night to night, you sort of can't work it out. You got to be there. You got to watch. You got to actually do study on it. You know.
Well, we had a scenario about six months ago. About 6 months ago here. About 6 months ago here, we had the most extraordinary sky. I couldn't believe it. So it was this one night. I remember it so clearly. It was a full moon, and we had Mars, we had Jupiter, we had Saturn, and we had Venus all in the sky at the same time. Venus, I've never seen brighter. Like, I'm seeing Venus during the day here at the moment. I've got a video up on my channel, the daytime Venus. I've seen Venus. It's that bright. Mars is almost as bright as Venus now, and it was always a dull star. Jupiter was always really bright when I was a kid. It's extremely dull now, and Saturn is just this dirty, dull brown color now, where it was always bright. So the skies have changed big time,
mate. Yeah, and it's seen as though it's Aussie night, and your observations and your just how you're speaking is really, it's like starlight to my eyes, man. And the stars could be like to us, the beautiful, the cheers and the horrendous joy of our ancestors just waiting to see us, my brother. And two words come to mind, and those two words are Santos Bonacci, because he's a legend in that field, and we're all here to unite and work this stuff together. We can fold a cloth, my brother, and it'll be more beautiful than anything that we learn in school, you know?
Oh, school's just brainwashing. School is just memorizing lies. I believe we're closely aligned with our view on the stars. My view on the stars is I believe the stars are angels in heaven, and I believe the wandering stars are the angels that left their position. They left their position, and there's scripture to back that up. Job's very, very particular with the stars.
Can I just say, Patricia's unmuted herself. Patricia, do you want to say something? Oh, maybe she hasn't then. It's just that I can't see her thing on. All right, carry on. Sorry.
Chilling.
I can't make
mute, unmute.
Yeah, Trouble says she can't make it any louder.
No, it's as good as I can do. If I unplug my headphones, I lose all sound together. I've got an external speaker. Yeah, I've just got problems with my laptop. It's not very good. As good as I can do. Sorry, I'll yell or not talk.
No, we're here, Patricia. We all yield the harvest and smoke the floor. Please tell us what you have to say.
I don't think she unmuted, but I thought she had. She might have the television going.
Okay, well let's just have a moment for Trouble About to tell us what she's got to say.
I was just going to say earlier that I don't even know. I can't remember what we were talking about.
That is beautiful. That is wisdom, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it.
It's only 7:30 in the morning here.
When you were talking before, we were talking about how it goes darker up there quicker than down here.
Yeah, I just don't see how there's a 24-hour sun down south. Even when I was down in Victoria, it just doesn't. I mean, it sets south enough, but it doesn't rise south enough. It's still rising back over the other direction.
Agree. There's nothing south. There's nothing south of South America, South Africa, Tasmania, New Zealand. There's nothing down there. There's no documented. There's nothing.
No.
Now, can I just side note to that it's important for everyone listening as well. And thanks, guys, the future, present, past, for listening. we're all in this together, more or less. So I haven't actually, as I said earlier, had much experience tracking. So we should all probably pay a bit more attention of what's going on, because you're raising some interesting issues, Brett. And I'll be, as I said earlier, Karen, I've got to listen to this again because it's not one of my fortes, this subject, but it is actually.
I've been photographing the moon and the sun and the stars for about 5 years now. None of the planets, they're not doing. Has anyone noticed at the moment, or here where I am, Venus sets, around sunset, and then it's Jupiter and Saturn, and then it's Mars. Like Mars is way out from the sun. It's not meant to be way out there. It's confusing the shit out of me. I can't understand it.
My observations with the wandering stars is that they just run their own race. They're just completely random. It's like where the moon rises. You can't pick where the moon's going to come up. You can pick when it's going to come up in its phase, but in terms of the north-south type of thing, you can't pick where it's going to come up. And the wandering stars are the same. They seem to be fairly consistent in groups of time. So they might be a month, they might do this and that, but then they just...
I thought they were supposed to have an order to them.
Well, this is interesting because the Mayans have been charting stars for years, haven't they?
Well, yeah. Well, what's Mars doing in the middle of out with Saturn and Jupiter? How the hell does that happen? I don't understand. And then supposedly you've got all the other planets on the other side of it.
Have we lost Brett? Brett, are you there?
You did momentarily. I think I'm back. I missed
back.
Basically what Trouble said there, yeah, but I'm back, yeah.
Okay, Trouble, do you want to say it again?
I'm just struggling at the moment because I've noticed that Mars is not where it's supposed to be. Mars is out past Jupiter and Saturn.
But where's it supposed to be? Where do you get that sort of where's it supposed to be?
Well, according to popular mainstream science, it's supposed to be Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Sun, Uranus, Pluto, or whatever the friggin' order is.
Scientists are Masonic liars. Scientists are just Freemason liars. They're the same people who say they went to the moon. They're the same people pushing the globe.
I get that, but how do they come up with an order of the stars if they aren't in that order when you look at them in the sky?
How do they know?
Yeah, how do they even come up with that order if that order doesn't match what I'm looking at?
Because they're illuminated. They know more than us. Hence the term Illuminati. It's true. They've sold their soul to Satan, and they're Satan's representatives. They're Satan's representatives.
And God are laws in court.
I don't know about that. That's just a word on paper. People have been burnt and died under God and Satan and religion and God.
No, they haven't. No, they haven't. It's happened under the psyop. Nobody in the body of Christ has ever killed anybody else in the name of Christ ever. It's these people who tried back into court.
Like, when's God going to deal with?
Well said, Brett. That's a valid point. And so, from just Trouble about coming from
I think that's a different discussion, Trouble. That's a different discussion. I'd love to have that with you, but I don't.
Get it. It's the same words. How can it be a different discussion?
That's
God
interesting.
And Satan be these magical beings, and yet they're these solid entities in court.
In court.
It's confusing. Oh yeah.
Well, there's two.
You're mixing it's chalk and cheese.
There's two sets of laws. There's God's laws and there's the laws of the land, and I follow God's laws.
Well, there's the law of the land and the law of the sea. I thought God's law.
Because if God's law was nature, then the land is nature. What's the difference between the law? And how do you spell that law? Is it LAW or LORE?
This is where it's a difficult conversation because now
law. I have to stamp on this because it's important. Don't kill, don't steal, don't be greedy. That's the law, bro.
This is where you got to start talking about the covenants with Abraham and the cross and all this sort of stuff. And it's so long to explain. And I tell you what, to get where I am right now, it's been a hard and at times torturous journey. But I'm glad I'm here. but man, it was hard to learn. And I'm learning every day, and every answer I get, it's bringing up more questions, and they're just beautiful, nourishing questions and answers.
I have no interest in it, no need for it. I never have had.
Yeah, it's like we're all,
each to their own. Each to their own.
Yeah, we're all wandering stars on our own journey.
Yep.
No, well, no, no.
No one knows where we're going to run.
I'll just change the subject completely. Brett, when you were showing your globe, I know that you're not a glober, yes, but you bought that. But yes, next to Africa on your globe, there was a triangle. Yeah. What was that? Next to Africa.
That was a candle. I got a candle too close to it one day. Was that the big wound on it? The big gushing out of it?
I thought that was a big triangle next to Africa. I was thinking, what's that on the globe?
It's on. Yeah, I'm just looking at it now. No, that's on the east coast. No, I sort of had a candle out one night and got it too close to it. And I call that a nuclear blast. And it's funny. It's funny that happened around. It's funny. It happened around about the same time I woke up. So all of a sudden, I've just got this big nuclear blast on the globe. At the time I realised the Earth wasn't a globe, it was all quite symmetrical.
So, can I just say as well, like you're looking at these different light differences. It drastically changes from here to Scotland, and that's about, I'd say probably about 600 miles. It drastically changes. Which is consistent with Melbourne and Tasmania, because I would be probably here, as the crow flies, it'd be about 800 k's from Melbourne, and then Melbourne to Tasmania would only be 100 or so. And the changes there are just remarkable. And given that you're closer to the top of the world than we are the apparent bottom of it, I would have thought your exaggerations would be even more pronounced.
Yeah, man, but a crow doesn't have flies.
Aren't we closer to the bottom than they are?
It needs for a drink.
Sorry. That's cool. Greenland, there's a big part of Greenland that's on the map sticks up. So we're north, but surely you're after New Zealand. There isn't anywhere else, is there?
No. You look at any, like, the only maps we can look at are the maps we're provided. The globe, the AE map, the flat globe maps. They're the only maps we can look at. And there's nothing. There's nothing beneath. Beneath Africa, South America, Tasmania, New Zealand. There's nothing there. So, Trouble, you just mentioned that aren't we closer? We could well be, but what I'm saying is that with the conventional view, with the view that we've been provided, England's a lot closer to the North Pole than we are the South, because we're only just south of the Tropic of Capricorn here. Where I think where you are in Brisbane, you're basically almost. I think it goes through Rockhampton, the Tropic of Capricorn.
Can I jump in? Do you mean closer to the North Pole from there than you are to the South Pole, or?
Yeah, the conventional wisdom.
The South Pole doesn't exist.
No, I'm talking conventional wisdom. I'm talking conventional.
Sorry, you got to. Thanks for backstating that to me, because you got to think from the pole, or we don't know.
Pole, do you mean pole Antarctica as in land, or do you mean ice?
I think we're a bit closer, mate, in the north than. Hang on. Do you mean?
Plenty. You get a globe out. And England's right there. England's not far beneath the Arctic Circle, where we're only just south of the Tropic of Capricorn. And the Tropic of Cancer, I think that goes through the India, Sri Lanka, bottom of India. That's the Tropic of Cancer, which is a long way south of England.
Well, who knows, mate? Like, as you get north, maybe it starts spreading out again, south, and there is some sort of anomaly going on. That's why people are so scared and wanting to trap us into this new model. And maybe when you go south, it starts to get north again. We don't know. Like, that's a new way of thinking.
Can someone try and work this out? I can't get this clear in my head, this bit, right? So in the afternoon here, so it's about 8 o'clock here at night, which is about it's about 9 o'clock in the morning here. So that's about when your sun will be coming up here now, right? When ours is setting at the same time. So what I see it go off into the southwest sky. That's where I see it from my point of view. And you guys are seeing it come up from the northeast sky.
Setting, you mean southwest? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's setting in my southwest sky, and exactly the same point, exactly the same time, right? So exactly the same point in time. You guys are seeing it in your northeast sky, and we're seeing the same object at the same time in our southeast sky.
Which can't be, can it?
I just can't.
I just had to. There was a few comments.
That must mean you're south of us. It can't. It has to mean you're south of us.
Can I just say,
because you're seeing the object you're not.
Brett, a couple of Australians wrote in, and they were quite concerned because the equinox had happened, and the sun was still going south, as far as they were concerned. They put it in the.
Well, that's fascinating.
I did the equinox.
That's fascinating if that's the case.
We didn't even have a day of 12 hours sun. We had a day of just under by 50 seconds of 12 hours sunlight, and the next day it was just over 12 hours sunlight. So we didn't actually have a day of 12 hours night and 12 hours daylight.
At the equinox?
It didn't happen. Yeah, it didn't happen. It was out by a minute, both days.
Which is interesting, isn't it?
Well, it depends on which clock you were looking at too.
Yeah, it depends on the distance.
Yeah, the other way. The other way you can look at it. The other way you can look at all this is the moon. The moon is only actually full for a split second. Boom, it's full and then it's waning. It's waxing, full, waning. It just ticks over. And the equinox is the same. It's the same concept. It's like. It's pre-equinox, equinox now it's post-equinox. So that could potentially explain that because the equinox doesn't go for 12 hours maybe, or doesn't go for 24 hours.
It doesn't. It just goes for a split second. I think it only goes all day, whereas I used to think it went all day. So it turns out I didn't really know much about that model.
What I plan on doing, if what life can dish up sometimes things, and your plans are thwarted. But what I'm planning on doing is around February 6th, when we're halfway between the solstice and the equinox, I'm going to do another video, and then I'm going to do another video around the equinox as well, just to see what I'm finding. Because that what the person said in the chat about it still being south of the equinox, that's fascinating.
It might have changed now, but when they wrote it, they said that a few days ago it was still, like when they were writing it on the post, they were saying it was still going south. And then you said yesterday, on Saturday, I think it's starting to go slightly north again now, but they were quite shocked that it was still going south.
It could be because when I did the first video, I didn't put as much work into the first one as the second one, and I didn't do the sunset one. And I was at a different point. So I haven't been watching it that close to compare. So I'll take their counsel on that. Believe them more than me on that one.
So, yeah, Brett, can I just pop in a question there? What else have you seen about the actual proposed globe model? Because, it's been 3 or 4 years since I've worked out. Well, I have more questions than I could answer in terms of what I should believe about my reality, which is apparently dependent on other people. So it's just, firstly, hats off to you for asking questions, and they're great questions, serious questions. And we should all have a curiosity about this and to work out more about it and what's actually going on. So what is there any other things about that, the globe model? I don't mean to use quotation marks or, you're looking at things objectively. You don't want to jump into subjective opinions, although we're all built and we live to use our emotions in the best way we can. And it's a great fusion of things. And even as like we're like mother, like as we're babies, we're growing up and we get to be adults and we think, oh, we know what's going on. Maybe we should just keep learning, you know.
You mentioned Santa. You mentioned Santa before. I think Santa's a terrific metaphor of life. So we're born into truth. Everybody in the world is born into truth, and then we're fed lies. From the moment we sort of step out of our house, even as growing up as a kid, because we were fed lies as a kid, we're telling our kids lies, and we're doing it unwittingly because we don't know, because we've been deceived. And as soon as you step into that school, I remember as a kid, I used to run around with all my mates and we used to make fun that the earth was flat. We just knew the earth was flat. And you step into a school and they tell you it's not. And they just fill it. That's what schools are. They just fill your head full of crap. And Santa's a perfect example of it, because Santa is it's a lie they create, and it's just them laughing at us.
Well, it's commerce. It's commerce all over again. Which would
so
be
deep and so quickly. Sorry, Trouble. I didn't mean to cut you off, mate. Please continue.
I said it's commerce. Santa Claus with his Santa Claus, you know, it's commerce. And that to me would be Satan, because that's commerce.
Exactly.
It's
exactly.
So they're dead entities that are trading, not living entities.
You look at the nativity scenes at Christmas and all that. You never see now. Christmas has got nothing to do with Jesus. Like being in the body of Christ, there's no way Jesus would ever want us to commemorate his birthday. He's not interested in that sort of stuff. But all that Christmas stuff is maybe Nimrod, and Nimrod's the sun god, and the sun god, and they all worship the sun. All of them. They're sun worshippers, the Satanists, and the whole Christmas thing is about baby Nimrod. But even that now has been replaced by Santa. You never see the baby Jesus now in the manger or anything. It's Santa now, which is Satan.
Can I say something? I'm coming from a healing point of view. I've got a brain injury from strokes, and I think Christ has got more to do with our brains and our thoughts and our sight, and because we're actually blind. The part of our brain that deciphers sight is at the back of our head, and it couldn't be further from our eyes if it tries. We physically cannot see a thing. And we can't hear, yet we can hear and we can see. And so I think it's some liquid crystal thing that's inside our head, and that allows us to see it. I mean, that's a bit of a short version, but
no, there's merit in that. There's another YouTube channel called Enter the Stars. Casey, you may have heard of him. He does some fantastic work about this sort of stuff, about like Christ being within and all that. If you're interested in that sort of stuff, check him out. He's incredible.
I think space is thought. I mean, thought needs space to expand in. Like, where is all this information being stored? I know a lot of it's in my body, in every cell in my body. I know from having strokes that it's in movement.
Right. As well as Christ like a metaphor, or Christ as read in a book, or Christ as in all your endocrine systems working together. It's the same thing. We're on the same system. We're on the same path. Yeah. There's some incredible things to say, and when we lose the path, that's okay too. When it overwhelms us, that's okay. It's part of the process. It's part of
I get lost in this group of humans saying that they're the son of God, when everybody's the son of God. But no, there's this one special bloodline that we're not in, of course. Just the ruling elite are in.
Jesus is God.
Protected, and I don't understand. No, God's God.
Jesus is God in the flesh.
No, God is God. Okay.
No, Jesus is.
No, God is.
Well,
God is God.
I think Jesus, like he is us, and there's a lot of metaphors in the Bible.
God is not the son of Mary. God is God.
Yeah, well, I got to shout out Santo Spinacci here, because he's looked at it. He's got a lot of good ideas going, and we all do, and apparently so do the Illuminantes for our bloody future. So let's start to work it out, guys. And it's great questions, great chat. Although I haven't seen the chat tonight, I meant between us, fellow humans. But this is on record, we learn to make gold with our hands. We've all got the Midas touch. Our body has been hitting green lights since forever. We're used to this. But you tapped it on the head, and you too, Trouble, Patricia, by saying that we don't know what it's about, but we sort of do know what it's about. I don't know. I mean,
can I just shout out to Nimble Horse there in the chat? Nimble Horse in the chat. Nimble Horse just put Jesus equals Joshua, which is interesting. I just wanted to say to Nimble Horse that I found out this week that the ram in Genesis was actually Jesus. The ram that Abraham spoke to is Jesus, and that just blew my mind.
Yeah, man. But I mean, we can talk about.
I never read the Bible, and I'm not
Spot on,
really
Charles.
sure why.
Spot on.
I've never read the Bible. I'm not really into religion much, and so I'll just let you guys.
Me either. As I say before, I'm not religious at all. I'm not a religious person. I'm in the body of Christ.
Well, it's called unutterable for a reason. You know what I mean? And we're talking about, let's go back to Mayan cosmology, some old sort of cosmologies, a lot of where the modern Western is, I don't know, mystical traditions have gotten all their stuff. It's through
sun worship.
You know,
it's through sun worship.
You can say that, or you can say it's through the destruction of ancient cultures or this and that. But in the eyes of the sun, you think it really matters? Not really, because we're all sons and daughters. We're all made from love.
It matters because it comes.
I don't know. I think we come with the sun and we go with the moon. There's challenges. There's guards on the gate, and you gotta work it out.
The reason why we're having this chat is because we're being deceived, and the people that are deceiving us are illuminated, and the reason why they're illuminated is because they're Satan's people. Now, I think, Trouble, you mentioned it before, it's all about bloodlines. There's definitely a bloodline there. It goes back to Cain. It goes back to Eve. There's an evil bloodline there. It goes back to Esau in the Bible. It's littered through it, and the royal family, they go back to this bloodline as well. And they're all illuminated, and they know more than us. You hear the politicians in America, George.
And then you say they know more than us, bro, because you're a guppy on the shore, bro. You should be scared to go deep.
Because
I'm petrified. My journey with Christ in the Bible is going deeper by the day, and it is petrified, but it's also glorious.
Whales are nice people. Terrible creatures of the deep. They don't have to be bad. They're just creatures of the deep, man. You can be one of those little creatures that they like, that sucks on them and cleans off all their barnacles. It doesn't fucking matter. That's what holds up society. These blood-sucking mofos, bro.
What right?
I believe people are
speak on behalf of God. Because that's what all these books that we're fighting. What right do you think that man has to speak on behalf of God and write Bibles and books and things on behalf?
Okay, so that requires a definition, a pre-definition of what we believe as God is.
Who says what God has planned for you? Who says? Man doesn't.
So beautiful.
This is difficult because trying to speak to people who aren't open to God being true and Jesus being God in the flesh, it's very difficult to have this conversation with them, and I choose not to. People, it's a lot like when I speak flat Earth with people, and all they do is come on and they're trying. And I'm not saying you're doing this. It's like when I speak to people about flat Earth, and they come on and they're just being cantankerous and they're just bringing it back to the globe. They don't want to learn. And if people don't want to learn, they just want to disagree. I just prefer not to have the conversation. There's people out there listening now. My words are probably resonating with, and there's other people probably think I'm just a nut job, you know. And part of my purpose. So my purpose in life is the purpose that Jesus has put out for me. I walk with Jesus. He's my purpose, and every day it just gets better and better. And part of that purpose is to bring others within the temple, with the elect within the temple, and they'd be out there now listening. And if I can save one person, I've done well in Christ today. If other people choose not to go that way, We go there, rather. That's completely up to them.
No,
And
that's
I'm
cool.
certainly not. I'm
Can I
certainly not going to rubbish. I just want to round. Can I just round this out? Can I just round this out?
Question.
Hang on a second. Just 1 second. I just want to say Owen from Australia has joined us, and you might be very interested in hearing some of the stuff he says because he's been plotting the stars and he can keep up with the stars. But Owen, welcome. You're here with Gathaka. You're here with Brett. Obviously, Brett wanted this hangout, and it's really great. We're here with Trouble About, all Australians, and then it's me and Patricia, Pommies.
The usual guys, yeah. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Loud and clear.
Yeah, mate.
I lost
Can
my
even
mic.
see you, mate. Can even see you.
Awesome.
Owen, where are you in Australia?
Yeah, right near Cairns. But
Nice.
yeah, I totally see where Brett's coming from. We've got the sun and moon rising and setting in the far south, and then it arcs over our zenith into the north. Yeah, it's quite interesting.
So you're north of the Tropic of Capricorn there, but not far north. So I think the Tropic of Capricorn goes through Rockhampton, from memory.
Yeah, it's south of me. Supposedly, I don't think it's actually correct, but
it doesn't exist.
no, it might be the sun's. It's not its apparent position, that's for sure. It's
And Owen, as you're here, and just explain to Brett, obviously, and Gathaka as well, and Trouble About what that experiment you did. I know it's been on Sun and Moon. You don't have to spend 10 hours doing it, but what was the experiment?
Surface speed tests. So I'm rolling telescopes and cameras across the ground and looking at the footage, looking at how the stars scale and act in accordance to those movements. And yeah, we're definitely geocentric, according to my test.
I think we all agree on that. I think we all agree we're geocentric. Yeah.
And I totally agree. The sphere, the ball we're taught, it cannot work. The Tropic of Cancer's in the complete wrong spot on the ball.
Go on.
I could give some examples. I forget how to screen share, but even on programs like Stellarium, anyone can jump in and have a look. The sun is rising and setting in the south during the summer solstice in Australia, and
it is.
And the Tropic of Capricorn is supposed to be north of places like Tasmania, New South Wales. I've been to New South Wales myself and seen it. The first night in New South Wales, I thought to myself, the equator. I'm on the equator now in Sydney. How does this make any sense on the globe? So I see where you're coming from. It's a conundrum.
Yeah, g'day, mate. Nice to see you. I'm Gathaka.
Asking you.
Glad someone else joined me.
Yeah, man. I can resonate with one or two things. Well, like taking steps up, and then we get out to a ledge, and we want to know if we want to dive in. And I have to say something that I've found the spirit of Jesus when I was 16. The first time I've ever said it, and probably the last time I'll ever say it, and because I don't need to say it. Whatever that means for people, it's just like when you can learn what that joy is, you can call it anything, and that's great. So here we are, and we're going to find out what's going on. How good's that feel? Woohoo!
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun mystery.
Man, it's a really big mystery because I don't know anything about a lot of this stuff, so it's interesting to me.
Owen, can I ask Owen? Owen, how do you see the sun compared to? I don't know if you've seen any of Brett's videos.
Yeah.
How do you?
Well, right now it's actually it's arcing in my sky. It's rising in the southeast and setting in the southwest, but it is arcing and almost coming directly above my head during midday. Whereas for Brett, I'm pretty sure it's doing the same thing, but it's arcing all the way over his head and then going back south.
At midday, where is it? Is it directly above or just slightly north or slightly south?
Slightly south for me. So I do think it's in between you.
Is that right? Is that right?
Yeah. Stellarium can verify it as well.
It's in the southern sky for you all day.
Yeah.
Is it going to be like? Is it going to be like this, bro?
Bizarre. So I'd say the further south you go, so when you go to Tasmania and Melbourne, I'd say the arc's more savage. So it goes, it rises further south of east, and then it goes further north of centre in the middle, and then it sets further south of west. So it's a big arc. Where the more north you go, it stays in the southern sky, but the arc's less.
Yeah.
Picking up what I'm putting down? Yeah.
I agree with you there.
That's fascinating. I wonder at what point it hits north all the time, because it's in the middle of the day. It's further south as you go north.
Oh, I see the same thing in France. It's sort of fading away the wrong way in winter.
Well, I'm still I'm not locked into any model either, but I still consider myself a flat earther just because of the long distance ground measurements we've been doing. Well, the math anyway. So I think we are on a flat surface, but there's something else going on in the skies that might be able to explain it.
Yeah, we're like we're in the womb of the mother of the spirit, my brother. Like any fetus being born, how could you ever possibly understand the world that awaits you? So much beauty, so much honor.
And that's why I'm not a flat earther. That's why I'm not a flat earther, because I don't actually know. Like, I think the Earth's flat. Everything I see tells me it's flat. The Bible tells me it's flat without actually saying it. But all the clues in the Bible tells me it's flat, and my senses do. But I can't get up high enough to see it. So I'm not one to say I know, and I'm not going to identify as a particular thing unless I do know, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
but I think it's flat, and I resonate flat earthers resonate with me. You know, I listen to flat earthers because I probably am one.
Yeah, well, that's it, man. There's no curve, mate. That's for sure.
Oh, it's not a globe. I mean, that's settled. That's what I said in my video. I don't want this to be a debate about the globe and all that, because it's settled. I mean, it's just, to me, that's what woke me up, was the moon landing, and then I went straight from there to the globe. And it's just a deception. I mean, you look at, when you get to my point, and Jesus says eyes to see, ears to hear, you look at things like the ISS, and they're just evil looking people, and the deception's just right.
When it can come to that or that, my brother, there's so much other beautiful stuff to know, like about the flowers and the trees and how they interact, and there's all these beautiful sciences, and you can learn them in school. And there's nothing wrong with learning stuff in school. Oh, what I reckon, mate, we were supposed to learn everything at once. We were supposed to learn everything at once, and it's just like the old fellas used to say, mate. We were given this place just to give 3 rules, bro. Don't steal, don't kill, don't be greedy. And they killed. So, I don't know, where's the circle? We got to create our own circle now. That's what it's about.
Well, isn't that what we're doing today? Isn't this like, you know, we've got obviously you're in France, people in Australia, people in the UK, all the chat room. We're doing that now and we're talking. So we're doing that right now.
Comes down. That's like digital. It's good, you know. Bring it in everyday life. Sorry, Karen, I'll let you go. We've got a good connection now. That's great.
Yeah, it's all amazing, but I just want to, because you know, Owen has done his own experiment with the stars, and I want him to explain that because Brett would love it. I don't know about you, because obviously you're going to start looking now, aren't you, Gathaka? But
oh my gosh, yeah, I'm really like the kid in the back of the class sticking his hand up all the time, going, "What? Wow!" Because I know a lot about social sciences and other aspects of things, because I'm passionate about knowledge. That the real knowledge is to know that you don't know anything. So if you guys have been doing this stuff and we can graft it and put it on paper, I'll be right here. You know where I am.
Owen, do you want to explain a bit about that star experiment? Because it's really important. Owen's one of the only people to have done this.
All right. Well, a basic one. They say the Earth's spinning 1,000 miles at the equator. My longitude would be 900 and something. So this device I have, it's just a telescope on a board with wheels, so that I can move it left or right, and I line up east-west with a star. And they say the apparent motions of the stars are caused by that surface speed of the Earth, the 900 mile per hour surface speed of the Earth. So to put it simply, if I travel 1 mile per hour with my telescope on wheels, and it's locked onto a star, and if I travel say east 1 mile. Oh, sorry. If I travel west 1 mile per hour with this telescope, the in the footage, mathematically, stars should only slow down 0.01%. I'll have to go back and look at the maths, but they should only slow down by a small percentage. But instead of slowing down, they completely reverse and go the other direction.
Yeah, you know what I reckon, bro? The stars and the Earth do a bit of a dip, like a bit of a little bit of a how you going. Every now and then we do a little bit of a dip.
Yeah,
that could explain such intricate deviations in the models. Also could explain ancient astronomers' curiosity with the stars and the Earth and the planets and where we are and from whence forth we're born.
Well, here, I'll bring it up to read, because my dip right now is lack of sleep, actually.
Straight up, cuz, but that's cool, because we go into the different worlds when we have a lack of sleep. Everyone should learn about clean water and fasting, and also lack of sleep, because you can get yourself into some really cool alignments with reality, you know?
Yeah.
Every now and then, man, you got to like walk the midnight moon.
It's one of the things that happens when you're a flat earther. Most flat earthers don't sleep that much anymore. I bet you anybody in the chat room who sleeps for hours anymore, you're researching on how your hour's going to work, whatever it is, you're hardly any sleep. 4 or 5 hours a night, guys, if you're lucky.
That's where this whole AE thing is critical, because people fall for it, and it's just another psyop. It's just another. It's another deception. It's just another. It's controlled opposition.
Oh,
and they just
so much
put everyone over there, and they think that all these crazy flat earthers, we've got them over there in the box. They're nowhere near the truth. They're driving themselves crazy. They're tearing their hair out. But it's like it's this sort of stuff that they don't want. You know, just a bunch of like-minded people going, well, hang on, no, it doesn't work.
This is playtime, man. And what are they going to say? Put 10 papers in the bin. Ain't going to put 10 papers in the bin. Nah, bro. We're talking about
that's exactly how the world works.
Yeah, this is like Stone Man
we've got
stuff,
a green
bro.
man, we've got a green man, we've got a red man on a sign which tell us when we can cross the street. You know, that's how stupid society's got. That's how controlled we've become.
For the boys, mate, that come behind us going, woo, 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 woo. You just ran a red light, sir. You need to pay.
You ready, Owen? Have you got your stuff up?
No, I couldn't find it, but I can see the flight, so I've done it in a car as well.
The big waves,
Owen,
big curvy, the big barrels, bro. They'll test you. Just got to know how to breathe.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. I'm with the Maroubra boys. Fucking respect Sydney, yeah. To the fellas. Fuck yeah. Ripping it up. Huge swells, bro. Massive swells.
Can you take me through just your findings again, mate? I couldn't get my head around it. I know you were travelling with the stars at 1 kilometre an hour at the same
I'm not
direction.
with the stars.
Right?
Oh, okay. Well, it started.
I'm ground, but I like to swim. You know?
I started by driving my car west, right? And if the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles per hour, I mean, if that is the explanation for the motion of the stars, I should have to drive my car 1,000 miles per hour west to stop the apparent motions in the sky. I should have to travel faster than 1,000 miles per hour to reverse the motions of the stars. I'm able to reverse the motions of the stars with tiny, minuscule movements down to centimetre per second.
Nice.
So it's I can if you're on Facebook and if I can get an email, I'll share the footage with you. I actually don't know how to screen share.
I'll put my email in the group chat here.
Is it the star one? I can send him that one, Owen. Do you want me to send him the? Yeah, I'll send him.
Thanks,
I'll screen share some footage of this star that I made. I made its apparent motion go east.
You know, to do application, don't do entire screen. Otherwise, you show. I'll just put the link onto Trouble About with the moon.
Okay.
While you do it.
Here we go.
So, what was your latitude again for the test?
All right. It was
927. You said, was it?
Oh, that's the speed. Yeah, 70 degrees south.
That's interesting. So, detracting that, I don't know if you've. There's not a lot of mathematical equations about the different in the. Because
you're breaking up, Gathaka.
Yeah, that could happen.
Planets are for apes.
Of course, that could happen. Sorry, I will turn my pineal gland down.
Can you click the page, Owen? Because it keeps going back to the Hangout.
Is it on?
Is it on now? Because it went back to the Hangout. Right, it's not now. Link. Right.
Can you see a green thing?
No, so what I'm saying straight up, hope it comes through.
Can I just say, wait a minute, Gathaka, wait please. Owen, you're still showing the link, so I can't put it across because you're showing the link right now.
Right.
Put the Hangout down.
Yep, it's back to normal. I don't have to share it.
Okay, you're not going to share it.
I didn't think we were going to talk about surface speed tests. I'm just not prepared at all. I thought Brett was going to share some stellarium photos or
no, let's
sun and sky, but we've already verified that between us.
Let's. That's okay, man. We're not even playing checkers tonight. Not chess. It's just Twister. It's just Twister on the beach.
I did have a question for Brett. I don't mean any offense.
Good times.
Do you know Lord Stephen Christ?
No. No.
No.
No.
Okay, he's got a convex.
He's a concava.
Concave.
Mr. Concava. Concava.
Yeah.
See, yeah, you want to get next to me?
See.
I'm Gathaka, don't need gravity.
Well,
sorry, yeah, no.
I'm sorry. You guys look very familiar. That's all. Very similar, I should say.
Old school, mate. Is he? Do we? I've never. I don't know him. Don't know him.
Who looks similar to who?
Well, let's get him.
There's a guy on YouTube. I thought he might be you, and that.
Oh, really?
Your alias.
Yeah. That's me,
What's
bro. I'm going G. That's me. Here I am. I'm the G man.
LCS or LSC? Lord Stephen Christ. LSC.
Is that some old school? I don't know.
He's got some amazing models to try to explain the daylight hours.
Yeah, can we just listen to Owen for a minute? Go on, Owen.
Oh, what do you want me to talk about, Karen?
Talk about Lord Stephen Christ.
I'm just clearing this up because I came in here thinking I'd be debating Lord Stephen Christ or an alias of him. Just because Brett looks very similar.
To me,
I think he looks like.
You didn't cut your beard and your hair?
I think he looks like Gathaka.
Yeah, well, because that's the correct. Thank you, Brett.
I'll be back.
We don't say in the presence of someone else, oh, he looks like you, and I say you look like him.
No offense at all. I just wanted to clear that up.
Let's just keep it all really nice. All I'm saying is that Brett looks like someone else, but I don't think he is. Okay.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
this bloke's a Freemason. It's not. He's a Freemason. I'm not him. Just in terms of the convex Earth and stuff, I was talking to one of my subscribers this morning, and where I am at the moment, if I had to pick where we are, I think we're sort of it goes a little bit downhill. So you start the North Pole is sort of the most northern point of the Earth, and then it all goes downhill from there, and that would explain why lakes are formed and dams and things like that, because it's the water getting caught. A little bit like the side of a canyon that gradually goes down to its bottom. If I was a betting man, that's where I am at the moment. Very, very slight. You know, it's still pretty well flat, but it sort of just goes down a little bit down to the south. That's where I am.
That's a bit tweaky.
Bit like a spinning top. Bit like a spinning
Sort of
top,
like
you know, and the sun as the sun goes south to this time of the year, it's like a spinning top, you know, and that's why it gets closer to us as it goes down. Just sort of where I am.
Should I blow one for the ancestors, guys? Yay! Hey, it's for yous all. I love yous. Ready? Yeah, Viking horn.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
nice.
you for blowing the horn. Thank you. Sorry, what was going on? I've lost thread now. What were you saying, Brett?
Oh, just about where I sort of think where it could be, and remember, I'm open to England being south of me at the moment. The way things are starting to pan out, so who knows where anything is. But I think it could sort of run just slightly downhill, and that's sort of why dams and lakes and that sort of stuff are there. Things like bodies of water are there, like the Great Lakes in America. Where I live here, we've got a lake system here, and that's sort of where the water gets caught. because it's slightly downhill.
Some of the maps, they put Australia the other side of America, don't they? On some of the maps.
Well, they do. They put it everywhere. They put it, and there's hints in the lies. Like with the lies, there's hints all the time with what they give us, and they put stuff everywhere. Like you mentioned Greenland before. I've heard in actual fact Greenland's the size of Victoria, whereas on the map it's the size of Africa. You know?
Okay, I'm a concave earther.
I like the map where Australia's in the middle, and then all the continents are together, and it makes sense.
I always say to people, troubled Australians are the only people in the world who don't speak with an accent. So I like Australia being in the middle of the world.
Yeah. Okay. So I just checked the math. So if I did this surface speed test right on the equator, and I started moving my telescope west without breaking its alignment, so it's locked at 90 degrees, so I can't turn it this way. It's locked, and the only motion is lateral, so I'm pushing it laterally west. And if I'm going 1 mile with this device, one tangent mile, this star's apparent motion should only slow down 0.1%, because 1 mile is 0.1% of 1,000 miles. So these things should scale and act accordingly if they were actually accurate mathematical models that they're giving us. But with that 1 mile motion, not only did they slow down, but they totally reversed and went the other direction, as if we're completely stationary.
Man, that's fucked up.
That's just to catch up on the math, so.
Yeah, wow.
I'm vibing that. I'm vibing that big time.
A copper at my door, so apologies for running away on you, sir. I did overhear though, speculating on concave and land masses being messed up. I'm taking. I'm a dome head at the moment. I tried to put a condom on my head just then, but it broke, so I don't think it was supposed to be. But I'm a dome head. I've recently been looking into convex and concave lenses and things like that. Got another YouTube video where I'm just playing with a light and a popcorn lid, and you can do all sorts of things with lenses. So if we have lenses in the skies over the azimuthal equidistant, if we have some sort of convex lens over our heads, this could bend the light and cause the apparent sun to rise and set in the south when it's on its southern orbit. In my opinion, convex lens could bend the light into your eye. You'd see the sun in the south, but that's just because the sun's light is curving into your eye from the south. Its true position is far in the north. It's a pretty trippy thing, but I believe it's possible with lenses. And with God's creation, of anything could be possible.
Yep.
But that's where I'm
funny, you go into a realm here where I was talking to one of my subscribers this morning, and she's talking the same sort of thing. She's sort of saying that the sun, and we went through Genesis together this morning, and she's sort of saying the sun might be in the water above, and that's sort of that lensy type thing's happening, and that's what you're saying there.
Well, we can't be sure without getting up there, yeah.
But Genesis says as well that it's inside the firmament, which is heaven. So that's not in the water. So it's yeah.
Yeah. We're in the womb. We are the million sperms in Spirit's creation, my brothers and sisters. And someone has realized that it's a fight for the mother.
That's gross. It's really gross.
So, yeah, it's a microcosm, a problem, the macrocosm, brothers and sisters. Paint your floors and keep working to make a healthy Christmas, a healthy household, and say smile with your surroundings and your BMW and your bloody cars and your richness, and don't give a fuck about what's actually going on, because you don't live in the nature. You haven't kissed a tree. You don't know what's going on. And the beautiful people that can bless it that. And that's where the smile becomes prominent. See? Because the people of Australia, they still say, g'day, hey, go on, mate. Yeah, let's go have a beer at the pub. It's like...
Hey, just asking then on that score, Brett and Owen, how far, and Trouble, how far do you think Australia have gone with the deception and lies and stuff like that?
How far we're what? Sorry?
It's a rich country, Australia.
How far is Australia in understanding?
I'll answer like this. I'll answer like this. We've just provided $41 million a year to a space agency.
Yeah. Jason's coming to Brisbane next week. If I try to talk to my family about any of this stuff, they think I'm nutty. Still taking poison medicine. I mean, I have a few people, cousins, you know, younger people, but definitely not my age onwards. No, they're still convincedly on the idiot box and convinced the world is just the way they think.
Well,
can I just ask, Owen, what are you showing us? Just asking.
Well, actually,
Some quantum physics lady.
That was just a popcorn lid. I didn't even have a torch in my hand. It's just a popcorn lid and a fixed light on the ceiling, and I'm just changing the angle on the popcorn lid. But I'm trying to show that there could be 24-hour light in Antarctica. In summer solstice, I think even on an AE map, the sun could light the entire of the Antarctic Circle. Could explain why we see it coming and going from the south, though it's north of us when it's above our head. Because astronomers say the most accurate position, or the most accurate way to tell where a celestial body is wait till it's directly above your head, because you get less refraction through atmospheres, lenses, things like that. But yeah. It's a theory. The popcorn lid is flat, it's not even convex, so with a convex lens we could get even more trippy possibilities. I'm just working out how to screen share, and I've got it now, Karen. Thanks.
I'm showing it. I'm showing it, Owen.
Yeah, no, I've just worked it out. I'm remembering. I got.
Right. Okay.
I'll bring up a different one. Now then. Cool.
Yeah, nice stuff. Yeah, they're all like, we could be, and they could be putting stuff in our food and we wouldn't even know it.
And yeah, what's the Australian space company? It's ARSE, is it?
ARSE, yeah.
They're calling it ARSE.
They're the dudes. They're the dudes that lost the telemetry data from the NASA space missions.
That's just proof they laugh at us. That's just proof they're laughing at us.
Oh, it's big laughs. Yeah.
Have the Australian people already put tax?
We know.
Have you been to Parks and Forbes? It's in the middle of nowhere.
Print that love. That's where we come from. Fold it back. It's beautiful. Watch it ripple. It's like a butterfly effect.
Yeah,
that's where all their misuse come from. And then we'll know their own misuse
down under again, aren't they?
Come and get some of that. Yeah, they can bring it here.
The bottom again.
I love it. I dream. I remember my dreams every day since I was 4 years old. Come inside. Learn to breathe.
land down under the bottom of the world, space companies.
Brett said that he doesn't see many stars in the actual south. Is it the same for you?
No, I got a new camera last night. Actually, that's partly why I'm tired as well. I was out photographing because they were very brilliant last night. See the whole Milky Way. I just thought I'd share a photo.
There are some in the southern sky, but not many. There's a lot more in the northern sky. They're more concentrated in the northern sky. But as I say, it's pretty bright on the ground, so it could be, it could be that it's diluted. You don't actually know until back. I see it here. There's definitely more. There's definitely more in the north, and there's precious few in the south.
It's so amazing. That's what it is. The further you get to the equator, it's the more amazing the star charts are. It has more anomaly, if you will.
There's something.
Am I wrong?
There's something down south. There's something down south, and it's not cold. It's hot because that's where the sun goes. So
no, you mentioned earlier, Brett, and there's no actual footage of going back to the globe model, a 24-hour sun in the bloody
footage.
No.
There's no because that would work on a globe model, but there's none. There's no footage, and that's Bing.
There's
so
proof
we
of
will,
deception too. There's proof of deception.
Yeah.
Like you have a look at the live sort of 24/7 footage down there, and they never do it. It's always cut. You never see it constant. There's always a cut, and they paste it, and there's deception there.
I was just down in Victoria.
Yeah, it's similar. You said before. I'll just jump in with this because it's like when I learned high diving, so I learned how to dive into water, and the only water I ever dove into was flat. So you want to do a 1 meter, a 3 meter, do a 5 meter, 7 meter. And then when you get to the top and you're doing 10-meter dives, man, there could be people. It's like people jumping in, and you got to build up your truths, take step by step, and then just learn to dive in and go beam, and start measuring shit, because that's where the flowers grow. Is in all of that
24-hour sun in the south. I got a friend to go to Tasmania for me, and we both took a photograph at the same time, looking west.
Nice one.
Just to check, and I can't share both. That was my photo from Cairns, 17 degrees south, at 7 p.m. This is during summer solstice as well. So this is the same time last year. The same time.
Do you have the compass? Do you have the compass lined up, Cuz? Or what?
I do. My friend didn't, and I didn't have proof of it in that photo.
Yeah, but because if you're on a higher elevation, where it actually comes up from and where from your measurement is could be different. You know what I mean, bro? So it might be worthwhile doing simultaneous drone footage.
I just want to test the difference in longitude and the daylight hours. So it's basically just to verify what Brett was saying. Daylight hours are not real. It's just a political thing they do to cover everything up. They change your clock forward an hour when you go down there, but really you're not getting more daylight hours. You're getting the same daylight hours as you are here. You're getting more than the north are in the northern hemisphere. But if we were on a globe, that you should see a drastic difference in this.
But Owen, have you got any thoughts? So I've been thinking about this a lot, right? So the further south you go, the more sunlight you get during the solstice and the hotter it gets. But at some point, does that not stop? Because there's no 24-hour sun because they can't prove it and they can't demonstrate it. So at some point, it stops getting hotter and it stops getting longer, the days. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I believe when you hit a wall.
Yeah, you believe in the ice wall there?
I think it's just refracting. So you're getting the sun doubling up in heat because it's right next to a firmament wall. And it's pretty much...
Well, I like that.
Like a dome. So it's reflecting the heat onto you doubly, and also curving its light on its terminator line. We're led to believe the terminator line is a perfect path, like a perfect line across Australia. I believe when the sun comes in, it has. I could share this as well, actually. I think I've got a picture just here. Prepared, yeah. So I believe it's more like
the womb of the spirit. That's the old
Give
mother.
him a second.
What's going on? Yeah, here we go. You guys see this?
Yeah, I just moved it just in case, but I'll put it back now.
So this is in summer solstice. I believe that so as the sun approaches Australia, the terminator line isn't straight, it's arced. So in the very early mornings, you get the bottom arc of the sun. The very first bit of sunlight to hit your eyes, this bottom arc. I don't think you see my mouse.
But the sun's not setting and rising from the south.
It isn't. For you.
Looks like an eye, mate. Looks like an eye, a human eye.
On this picture, it's not.
Anyway, so what we... Brett.
Oh, no, it is. That's what I mean. Hang on, I'll show it again.
That's reflecting off the firmament, isn't it? Like a human eye.
The firmament, the sunlight is going to hit your eye from the south, right in New South Wales. If you get a big view of this.
I got you, cuz. I feel you. It's like when you're surfing a wave, actually. It's like water, that energy pooling up and regenerating itself. Because we're all just elements. We're all just elements on a wave, aren't we, bro? Really, all of us. Some of us probably spend too much time on YouTube, but that's okay. Go out, get some sunshine, do some measurements, like Brett, like Owen, like Karen, like all of yous out there. Love yous.
On this,
surf bendy water every day, bro. Yeah. Shout out.
This, with what I saw out at the beach, I saw the sun sort of coming up from Auckland, which is it's sort of doing here, but I saw it set. It was going towards Perth and then heading off into that direction still, where this is going over northern Australia, which is just a.
Yeah. Well, maybe Australia isn't positioned correctly on the A map. Who knows?
Or maybe there's a couple of suns going around, vibrating.
Well,
gyrating.
I'm just thinking, if to see an object, light has to hit the object and bounce into your eye, hit your retina, right? So,
what if the object is the light
coming from the sun? Coming from the sun from the south, I'm not sure if that means the sun is in the south. I'm big on refraction. I think, anything's possible, especially.
I'm vibing what you're saying. So I was talking to one of my subscribers today, and she thinks that it's actually in the waters above, and that's your refraction and stuff.
I think it's refracting off the waters above, but it's under. But yeah, it's
Do you know what it kind of reminds me of? You know what it kind of reminds me of? It's almost as if you've got the looking glass, the magnifying glass. Get a big old magnifying glass. When the sun shines through that, there's a beam underneath, and it's almost as if we're under the magnifying glass, and we've got the beam. But I just can't see if Brett's sun is going the way that he sees it, that he is, or there's more than one sun.
Oh, well, who gives a fuck, really? We're all fucking paying millions and millions of dollars in taxes. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a funky called Medina. We're all getting nicked by
that's the only.
No, we're here to read because we're researching. That's what tonight's hangout is about.
I'm curious.
Guys, I was just for those in the future.
I think that's the only explanation we've got at the moment, and Owen's alluding to it as well, is that what we're seeing isn't actually what we're seeing. To me, that's the only explanation there can possibly be, or that things aren't where we're getting told they are. But when you fly, like I've flown to the Philippines before, and I remember when I flew to the Philippines, I left Sydney and I flew over Brisbane, so I definitely flew north. So. And I think when people fly on a plane and they go from Australia to England, they see what direction they're going in. So the whole thing's so confusing.
Yeah, I've been taking a compass with me whenever I go on an airplane. And last time, the taking off was weird. He did a full-on spiral. He just spiraled up into the sky like this. Meanwhile, I'm there with my compass trying to write down all these bearings to, like, track it.
They try and confuse you. Yep. And then where did you go to? How long was the flight, bro? How long was the flight?
Do they do that every?
No. I've been from Cairns to Sydney a few times, and just the time, the time I brought my compass and notepad, he just did this really weird takeoff. It just made everything really hard for me to actually map.
But that's okay. That happens, man. Sometimes with the air traffic. I've been flying for 15 years from Sydney to Europe, and I've never seen any curve, man. I've got a systems failure. My phone is low on battery. I hope to rejoin you, but I can't find my charger quick enough. I love you all.
I'll try to share something.
Oh, Gathaka.
I'll be back.
All right, then.
It's going to die. My battery's dying. Battery's dying. No battery.
See you, Gatha.
I love you. Yo, I'll see you back. I'll charge and find my charger. Is it still working? Is this
It is.
Yeah, maybe just turn off video for a while. Save some battery.
I think he's gone now. I know his icon's there, but he does that sometimes. Anyway, sorry, you two, Owen and Brett, keep talking. It's great. And trouble about, come in if you want. Right, so Owen's showing this picture of the... So what are you showing us?
This is a test device with... this is the raw footage from me pushing at 1 mile per hour. And I only did this for about a meter. This star, it normally declines to the right of the screen. All the stars, if I didn't touch it, it would slowly drift to the right. But by pushing it west, this happened. And, you know, I can't push a telescope faster than 1,000 miles per hour, so it completely debunks the Earth's alleged 1,000 mile per hour spin. Where I am 900 miles, but still I can't push my telescope 900 miles. I'd need to do that in order to reverse the stars, given what they're saying. But not only that, with this device, I think I can simulate what it would look like if the Earth actually went around the sun, 66,600 miles per hour, by fast forwarding this footage. Yeah, funny. Well, you know, if I fast forward this footage, 66,600 miles time, we'll get a simulation of what it would look like if the flat Earth actually moved this speed. And it's insane. You can't even see the stars. For instance, in this video, I'll play it again. I fast forward it up to 6 times, and it's gone in the blink of an eye. So I can't imagine fast forwarding this 66,600 times. So that's just standard. That's 1 mile per hour movement. That's times 2, times 3, times 4, 5. It's just gone. You can barely even see it. It's just, yeah, completely wrong.
You'll have to Brett this, won't you?
I've also got all these photos from Stellarium just to verify Brett's sunrise and sets, because it lines up exactly with what he was saying. So they're not even hiding it from us in most of the
We've got a black screen at the moment, Owen.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just talking.
In my video too, I superimposed on there on the what's it called, the sky, where you point your phone at the sky and it tells you what you're looking at. I did screenshots from my phone with that, and they're just saying it that it's happening, on the app. So you're right, they're not hiding.
Yeah, they don't even hide it. It's just confusing. So people don't really.
I think only 99.9% of the population either don't care or they just don't want their beliefs challenged. And then the next lot of us that are left, they're just trying to confuse us. And that's why I just, I really, really encourage people not to argue with people about the globe. It's done. It's finished. What we're trying to find answers now. That's done. That's yesterday. Let's move forward to today. Although I'm not telling you should do your experiment.
No.
Please, I'm not saying that. Please, I'm not saying that.
No. I just wanted to share that. No, I mean, Karen asked me to. I didn't even come in expecting. But does this sort of simulate your skies? This is just near Tasmania on an app called Stellarium. They don't even hide it in this, but so it's the sun's rising in the southeast. So it's just south of the east line there. And then at midday, it's up in the north of your skies. And then sunset, it's in the southwest. It's in the west skies again. But I'm thinking this can be explained by refraction of the southern dome. Just curving the light to your eye. So wherever the terminator line first hits.
Oh, we've just lost Brett for a second. Do you want to hang on a minute, or do you want to carry on, Owen? Just explain it to the chat room. You can just, because there he is. He's back again. Carry on. Sorry.
I'm just saying this is that's what Brett's seeing, or close to, and even the apps verify it. And that's down near Tasmania. This one, but he'd be seeing something very similar to this with an arcing sun that moves from south to north. And then for me, I've got
what I saw, yeah.
I've got the same arc, but it doesn't quite make it into my north. So just based off our midday photos, I do think it's between us. I'm going with that thought just because there is less refraction on the moon when it's directly above you. You can see that it's whiter when it's above you, less distorted in shape. So I think the best readings, the most accurate readings of the sun we can get is at midday. And, maybe if we could get some solar filters involved, we'd get even more accurate positions on its true location anyway. But yeah, it's just an idea I have that this southern arc could be explained by the terminator line not being straight when it hits the east coast. That it hits the bottom first. So, if you know what I mean, like the first light to touch Australia is in there. is in the south on the east coast. But it's only for, a few minutes, so you might have a few minutes more daylight hours than us. There's no need to put the clocks forward an hour, I don't think.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. This it just exaggerates as you go further south. But what you're saying to me, and I think, Karen, you're saying that at the moment it's in your far southern sky. So it seems to me the further north you go, the further south it's in the sky. So that means you're getting further away from it. Because the further south you go, but the further south you go, the further south it goes into the sky, doesn't it? So I wonder at what point does it come straight over where it just does a true east-west line?
Well, no, I'm thinking
it's got to be somewhere.
The further south you go, the further north it is in your sky. But you are going to get it.
I disagree. I disagree because in Brisbane, when I was in Brisbane, it was definitely more. It was more north. Like it was only just south of east when I was in Brisbane, but now I've come back here. It rises a lot more south, and then when you go to Tasmania, it's a lot more south again, and then you get longer days. I'm talking that this time of year now.
Well, yeah, this is yesterday. These predictions here. So for you, it's more north in your sky than it is for me. Looking at the midday.
Oh yeah. At midday, yeah. I'm sorry. I thought as you go further south. I'm saying as you go further, and that's I think we're agreeing. Because as you go further south, it gets more south in the sky.
Trippy with these arcs. On a globe or an AE map, without lenses and without refraction and things, they should just be going straight across. Even on a globe, we shouldn't get any arc. They should just be going straight across. The sun should be following the Tropic of Capricorn. It just doesn't do that.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, this Tropic of Capricorn is almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. So there's something more at play.
You've thought about this. Listen, you've thought about it. What have they done? They've put a straight line through Australia, and maybe Australia isn't sitting like that. It's lying in a different position. Like when I did those shots with Malk in Scotland and we did a panorama, we kept doing panorams and he had this light longer than me. Because the light was longer leaving him than me in the summer, and it's supposed to be going off to America, then the UK must be lying on its side a bit. So the who's to say Australia looks like that? We're looking at that line going through Australia and you're looking at it like it's sort of perfectly sitting there on that globe. It doesn't mean it's lying actually like that in reality.
The other thing I just wanted to backtrack on, so just with the position as you go further south, so it sounds as though to me, the further south you go, the further south it rises and sets, but the further north it goes at its zenith. But as you go north, it rises closer to east, but it stays in the south at the zenith, the further north you go.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like there's something
it bisects itself. It bisects itself because at midday here, it's at midday here it's further north. It's not further north than what it is there for you, but when it rises, it's further south. It's like it bisects itself. Oh my goodness!
Yeah, it's there's certainly something very big happening down there. I think there's a reason for the Antarctic Treaty, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. And, they all go there, all the hardcore ones, and Buzz Aldrin, they go there and they always come back with a black eye. There's something about, I think that's where the bottomless pit is myself, but anyway.
Possibly.
Also, what is this bit like? A lot of people, I think it's Phuket, the guy who's out in Thailand. He was noticing that he could see these, the spots when they happen on the sun. But when it was coming towards him, they were on one side. And then when it had done its, the midday thing, when it had gone over, the spots had reversed to the other side. So what's happening there? That the sun flips and nobody notices it.
Well, it's this the sunspots.
Yeah, they flipped when it morning they were one side, and then when it had done the what's lunchtime called, like the mid zenith or something, zenith, isn't it? Yeah. So when it had gone into the afternoon, so over the zenith, the spots had changed to the other side of the sun, like the sun had flipped. Everything was reversed.
I would say maybe just perspective, because your head's turned.
Well, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah,
something. I'll tell you something.
The other day,
we noticed, listen, Dave Martian noticed, right, that anything that's in the tropics, it will flip. It can flip. That's why when the eclipse happened in America, although Mexico's in the northern hemisphere, because it's in the tropics, its eclipse was the other way round. And then he noticed that on the apps, the sun and the moon, they flip. Everything flips. Because it's in the tropics. So there is something weird going on in the tropics.
Yep.
I saw the other day the waning crescent around about the time I did the video. Venus was out most of the day that day. And I noticed it was Venus was just to the top part of the waning crescent, and then as it went further, it flipped. It was the other side, and it was below it. Venus was below it when it got past the zenith. I thought, because I remember thinking to myself, I'm thinking, what sort of an opportunity is this? Got Venus out all day with the waning crescent next to it.
Yeah, I think Trouble was saying that she noticed that Venus was out all day.
Oh, it's happening most days now.
What have you
look
got
up
to
there, Karen? See if you can see it up there during the day. Can you keep an eye out the next few weeks to see if you can see it there?
I've been jumped up by this actually recently. Like most of the time, I think it's just perspective. Just like we see the moon opposite ways up from the north and south hemisphere. It's just because one person's looking south and one person's looking north. Just like
Agree.
Yeah, but a guy called Alex Carrion on Facebook, he had a tracking mount, and he tracked, I think it was Jupiter and its moons, and he showed that it rose, I think, perpendicular and then set on a bit of an angle, and he was trying to say that it was curving around the northern barycenter, the North Pole, the northern axis, and I couldn't work that one out because it didn't cross his zenith, so it wouldn't have flipped. It wouldn't have been perspective that flipped it. He was looking at Jupiter and its moons, which are almost always have their own ecliptic, and he was looking at how that pivoted a bit. That stumped me a little bit, but who knows with this stuff? It's all weird, really.
Brett, do you do the stars as well, or is it the sun and the sun that gets you? Because everybody has their bit of a niche. So it's stars for Owen, although he likes the moon.
My main passion's the moon. My main passion's the moon. But the path of the sun, and I've got a bit of an interest in the wandering stars. But not really the stars. I'm not great at it. I'm fascinated by the moon. I just think the moon's the biggest mystery to man.
Yeah, it's great.
Why is it there? What does it do?
It's like a spaceship.
I believe it's like I believe the sun and they feed off each other. They feed off their energy. So at the moment, the moon's new. So it's sort of like on a recharge, and that's when the sun's at its strongest. And then when it's full, it feeds off the sun feeds off the moon. Yeah, they keep each other in. They sort of they balance each other out. The moon keeps the sun where it should be and stuff, like a counterweight.
It's like it balances out the hot day for the plants as well. Some plants need the humidity the moon brings,
Have you seen that test where you point that laser thing? It's heaps colder.
Yeah,
When it's full at night, when you're in the moonlight at night, you can feel it. You can
Absolutely.
almost smell it. The air's different. You can smell it differently into your nostrils when the moon's
you can
full.
cool your drinks down in moonlight.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
It's weird though. It's almost like it charges because it does get colder the fuller it is and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm absolutely with you on that. And these globalists, the trolls, the globalist troll monkeys, they come along saying it's the background radiation of space. That's
as I say, the globe's long past. I mean, you can't bend water.
You can debunk
you can't
that.
Bend water.
So, well,
you
if
can't
you ever
bend water, and also when I vacuum my house on a Sunday, my vacuum sucks. It goes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
How does our atmosphere meet a vacuum with nothing? It's just lunacy, and the fact people fall for it is just, to me, it's just it's where society's at.
Yeah,
it's just because people just whatever the man on the TV says, that's what they believe.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, if you ever do get hit with this background radiation quiz, that's easily debunkable because you can wait till the moon's very low on the horizon, and you can have both of your indicator and your test objects. You can have them totally exposed to the night sky and direct just one beam of moonlight in on an angle sideways, and it'll cool it down. So it's not, it's not the sky doing it; it is the moon doing it. I've seen people direct the beam into their house through a window and through a magnifying glass. That totally cuts out. They're under a roof. So yeah, it's amazing stuff. The moon is, I don't know,
I know. It's incredible, isn't it? That's why I'm so passionate about it. It's incredible. I call her Her Majesty. It's just,
yeah. Oh, yeah, I think I've spent more time with the moon than anything. I might be lacking vitamin D.
It's like, at the moment, it's new. I think it's a waxing crescent tonight again. It'll be about 3%, I think. So it's been new the last sort of couple of days. And because you can't see it, is it actually there? Of course it's there. It has to be there. It can't not be there, because as soon as it's a waxing crescent and a waning crescent, you can see it. It has to be there. It's just fascinating, the moon. I've got this thing where I try to see it. I try to see the moon as close to new as I can, and my record's down to about 36 hours.
Nice.
And don't forget, you see it completely the other way round to us.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. That's right.
It's tricky. New moon, there's no way you can get a solar filter in there. Because solar filter.
I've looked and I've asked, and there's no footage. There's nothing of the new moon. No one can. Nothing.
Even with Earth shine, even if the dark side glows a little bit from light scattering or whatnot, it's because it's so close to the sun. They say under the beams of the sun. That's why you can't see it. But
I've got a different theory on that one.
Yeah. She never leaves us.
I've got a different theory, Owen. I don't know if I've told you, but I went to work one day and the moon was there. I was only there for about an hour and a half. Yeah, I was in some hills, but we're not talking really high hills, but they were some hills. And I had to drive 7 miles before I saw the moon again. And actually, it was now in the valley. So it looked like maybe it hadn't dropped, but it was over in the valley. And from the hills, I just couldn't see it. So maybe it's always in the sky, but it's just out of your view. And it's now 7 miles away and you just can't see it in your unless you drive. And then I was thinking, if I had to drive 7 miles before I could see it, how could someone in London see it? Or someone in Scotland see it? If I had to drive 7 miles before I could see it. When he's looking, you become so aware of everything. Even you, Owen, so aware of everything. You're looking all the time, aren't you? Oh, just lost Brett for a second there. Yeah, we're looking all the time, aren't we? And so you notice things. There he is. Yeah, you notice these things more, and then you start thinking, how did that happen? How did that happen? And I've even seen, you know, the disappearing and appearing moon. It just it just appears.
It does get trippy. There's scriptures that talk about the sun and moon stopping in the sky, things like this. And I've already spoken to you about this, Karen. We swear we've seen the moon hasten and things speed up.
Yeah, I've always seen the sun as well.
Down.
Like it always, sometimes in the summer, the sun will hang around out the back of my garden and be there for hours and then whiz off. And I wonder if Brett feels the same. You know, when you take or you're looking, sometimes the sun and the moon, they come in fast, goes out slow, comes in slow, goes out fast, comes in fast. It just does something different nearly every day. It speeds the way what it's doing. It's different. Well, it is for me.
When it's full, it seems to really disappear quickly. But I find when it's a waning, I don't know much when it's a waxing gibbous, but when it's a waning gibbous, you know, those big daytime waning gibbous, it just seems like it's in the sky forever. Those, you know, those daytime moons, it just feels like it's just there forever.
Yeah, I do know what you mean. Sometimes it's like it's so slow, and then other times you think, well, you can almost see the moon moving. But I tell you one other thing.
Mm.
I mean, I don't know if I've told Owen. I have said it in a chat on a chat before, but somebody told me to watch the moon on when it hits the Cancer and Capricorn. And when it was doing that, the moon for me came in, obviously from the east, but it went south and then it dragged the stars for an hour back, sort of dropped them off and then carried on going west. They were all going west, but the moon was moving faster. It did a heartbeat wave and it moved some of the stars. But do you know what? I was so transfixed thinking, oh my God, look at that. How can I explain this to people? Because I need a 360 camera. I didn't look to see what the other stars were doing, but it definitely moved these stars. It brought them with the moon. So it went north a bit. I'm not saying it doesn't do other sine waves at other times of the year, but those two in January, I suppose it was last year, January last year, it did this like heartbeat thing. But when it started to go north, it took the stars with them. And I was like, wow. I saw it twice in 1 month. So the moon moves stars around.
I'm sort of a like I think it's cool. Can you hear me? I'm hourglassing.
Yeah.
Oh, you can hear me. Yeah. I'm very biblical, and I'm adamant we're in last days. It's just playing out. I believe we're probably in about Revelation 14 or 15. And in Mark, there's a scripture in Mark to say that there'll be signs in the stars and the moon. And I believe it's happening now, like daytime Venus for which living. I just think time's up.
Yeah, because the people are waking up. Anyway, Owen, what are you showing us quickly? Because you put that up.
I'm just playing around.
Knowledge will increase. That's another scripture. Knowledge will increase.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking. I like to talk about the signs in the skies, but I've seen the moon. Like I know that we have moon trackers, all these programs that track the moon precisely, but I've seen it hasten and do take a course in a matter of time that it should not be able to do. Like it did a little bit of a jump while I was watching it, and things like this. Have got me into scripture, and I'm starting to think now things like the ISS, International Space Station, could be something completely different. Could be just a celestial that moves in an antipode manner to all the other wandering stars. It's faster and brighter.
Well, Globies say that, don't they? Globies say that you can see the ISS. I've never seen it myself, but it is a fact. You can see it. You can see what they say it is. Yeah, okay.
But it's not. It looks like a very bright star, like Venus. On the level of Venus, how bright it is sometimes. Some nights it's just beaming. And this thing hooks across the sky pretty fast. But I'm starting to doubt whether it's even a weather balloon or anything like this. Just looking at, you call it a feeling even, that something ascended so that all eyes could see. They mentioned.
You're describing Apollyon. Have you read Revelation?
Jesus. The ISS might be Jesus.
No. Have you read Revelation?
No, I'm actually trying to get a King James Bible.
I just bought one actually the other day because mine was falling apart, and I got it for $10. But you can you can read it on your apps.
Yeah,
I read it on my iPad a lot. But there's one later on in Revelation. I can't think of what chapter, but it's later on. It's after 13, where they talk about a angel descending from heaven, and it had the key to the bottomless pit, and its name. Get this: the name of this angel was Apollyon.
Apollyon.
I know, it's interesting, isn't it?
Huh. Yeah, well, yeah, I do have a lot of friends.
What you're saying now really resonates. Really resonates.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's imminent. That all comes back to the third temple in Jerusalem and Trump moving the embassy to Jerusalem, and we've done it as well. Because God doesn't come back like Jesus isn't coming back like that. It's not going to be like that. He clearly articulates how he's coming back in Matthew 24. This is the Antichrist. Really resonates with me with the bottomless pit and Apollyon.
But all right, interesting.
Read Revelation. Read Revelation. It's Revelation 13. Revelation 13 will make your head spin.
All right. I'll note that down.
Just asking, Owen, why is it that people can take pictures of it looking like something, but they don't realise that if their camera's picking it up, it's only miles away?
It'd be very hard to photograph it. I think all the things we're seeing are fake. The solar panel thing. Because all I see it when it crosses over me, I just see it as a very bright star. Just every time it reminds me of Venus. Like it just looks, dare I say, it looks beautiful, dare I say. It almost looks natural to me now. I've never seen it myself looking like a space station, only through the lenses of YouTube and, a couple of rare photos that people have supposedly taken. But yeah, the speed it's going, you need the best tracking equipment to even be able to zoom in on this thing and take a photo that's not blurry. So they're showing us these crisp photos. Amateur astronomers supposedly just snapping this thing. I think that's a whole crock of shit. That.
I must admit, I've seen that thing.
What if it was up there before they even formed NASA? That they add planets like Pluto, they take planets away. What if it was one of the planets?
It could be this Nibiru, couldn't it? One of these big psyops is this Nibiru thing. It could be that, and I was just thinking something else. It could link back to this alien deception, because when it all goes down, when the Great Tribulation starts, they're going to have to explain the rapture. And that's how they're going to explain the rapture, is through the aliens. They're going to introduce the alien deception, and people like me who were going off in the rapture, that's how they'll explain it to me, by aliens. But it was the rapture.
Well, yeah, blue beams. That's interesting as well.
Can I just say I've seen that
sky in America? It's crazy.
I just wondered in the chat room, has anybody seen that? Well, kind of like a star or whatever it is. It does go quite fast in the sky, but I wouldn't have said it was that high. Because you're seeing it. I know the stars are often there in the background, but I reckon it's below the stars.
Could be. Hard to tell.
How do you know where it is, Owen?
Oh, the ISS tracker. Yeah, just wait until it's
There's an app, is there?
Yeah, it's got a very weird orbit. Even it doesn't really make sense on the globe either that it's orbiting so erratically. So that it covers almost every point on Earth at one stage within the year.
I take a lot of photos
Every
of
country.
stars.
Yeah. So I'm thinking if this thing, yeah.
I was just saying, I take a lot of photos of stars, and the best photos that I get is from footage. So I play the footage on my computer, and then I pause it and I screenshot it. And they are the best photos. So maybe some of they're doing it that way. Some of the amateur photographers get photos of the ISS.
Well,
I agree with you. Everything else that I
photograph, the stars, like
otherwise.
Sorry to interrupt.
I was just saying, otherwise, if I just photograph them, they're a line, a coloured line through the sky.
Well, that's the thing. Even with 3-second exposure, the stars can streak, and they're moving very, very slowly. Yeah, the ISS. If I tried to, say, with my telescope on wheels, if I had tried to lock my telescope on it and keep it in frame by running, there's no way. I can do that with normal stars, but this thing is moving so much faster than stars and planets, I might add. So I doubt the
I've seen a few lights fly up in the sky way too high for aeroplanes and moving way too fast for aeroplanes. But then I see a lot of aeroplanes here too because I'm under a flight path, so it's easy to not know what you're looking at.
Well, if it is the beast from Revelation, it's moving too quick to photograph, I think.
Yeah.
For amateurs to photograph, you need some really good tracking equipment.
Yeah, unless they're doing like like I'm doing and screenshotting the footage when you pause it. But even that's not super crisp like a photo.
Well, even then, you screenshot. You're going to need a bit of exposure.
Well, screenshot on my laptop. So
yeah, but who took the photo for you to screenshot?
I did. I photographed. I screenshot a lot of the stars that I photographed because they move across the screen. And it only takes about 10 seconds to get across the screen, especially if they're really close. So I screenshot a lot of those. And they look completely different to when they're moving. And it is not really crisp. Well, some of them are crisp, actually. But they're not how stars are supposed to look.
You're right. I just mean with zoom. If you're going to use any kind of optics, like if you're going to zoom in on something, those apparent motions scale with the amount of zoom you're using. So if I zoom in on a star that looks like it's going very slow, the more zoom I use, the faster that star appears to be moving. Until if you're using a lot of zoom, you can't even keep it in there for like a millisecond.
No, I wouldn't think so. No.
So I'm talking the close-up photos. There's only a few on the internet of the ISS, solar panels and body and everything, supposedly taken from the ground by someone just holding a camera. That's impossible.
Yeah.
Like they could take a photo of it as a bright dot in the sky, but not with not zooming in on the
yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah. There's just so much sus photography out there.
I need a good tracker.
Unless you're only a few miles away.
That.
Well, that's just it. How can I? That's what I first started photographing the moon, and I was on a cheap Fujifilm camera, and I could get craters on the moon. I could get it in focus, and I was like, "What? That's bullshit. That's 350,000 kilometers away. Like, why aren't they bragging about that? That should be all over their box. Look, our camera can photograph things 350,000 kilometers away. How amazing is that? But no, there's no word of it. And yet I try and photograph something 10 kilometers away and I can't get it in focus to save myself.
It says about the P900, it's infinity. But you'd have to say that. You'd have to say those words.
Yeah, with stars light years away.
Yeah, light years away. What a load of rubbish.
Well, they move. If you're filming a star, they go in and out of focus. They come in and out and in and out, and like they're throbbing or something, pulsating, or as they move across the sky as well. But if I let my camera just go on autofocus, it zooms in and out, like, or the star comes in and out of focus if I have it on a set. Yeah.
Just asking Brett. Brett, is yours more observation or is it more taking pictures? Because Owen's gone, haven't you, Owen? Or you use your camera to take stuff. Trouble About's got a P900. What do you do yours with your phone? It's observations for you. Brett?
Both. I have got a P900 as well, but oh really?
It's all right. You're there again. Sorry, it was me. Carry on.
I'm back. Okay. Yeah, it's a bit of both. It's a bit of both. So I've got a P900. It's mainly observation because I'm constantly looking at the sky. I must look like an idiot. But I've got a P900, but it's got an error. I turn it on and it won't work. It says there's something wrong with the lens or something. So it hasn't worked in about a month. So it's stymied. But mainly observation.
Yeah, anyway, Trouble About's got loads of videos about stars. She's into the stars, aren't you? More, and the moon, I suppose. Oh, she's muted now. You there, Trouble?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I started on the moon because when I had my stroke, my sight went, and so the moon was what I was able to judge how my sight was improving. So I've been watching the moon for about 7 years now. But then I got the P900 and I can actually see stars. So stars have sort of taken my attention a bit more. And I can't really get near the horizon. Either sunset or sunrise, I have to go away from my house and I can't drive. So I sort of mostly look up. Because that's what I can see. So,
Sorry.
yeah, I've got heaps of the moon. Thousands of photos. I had to buy hard drives because I keep filling up my laptop.
Well, the whole thing with the craters, they are giving us the size and distance they're giving us doesn't work if you look into angular size equations and things like that. I haven't looked into it much, but you can work out how big an A4 piece of paper looks at a certain distance away in your camera and work out angular size off that. But I just cheated and compared it to photos of Earth. Like, there's an island called Socrates, which is, I'll have to find it again, but like there's islands on Earth that are supposedly the same size as Tycho crater.
Yeah.
And on Google Earth, if you zoom out just a little bit, they become invisible. But they're saying Tycho crater is the same size as that, yet the moon's like 3 times further away.
Well,
So
is the moon a reflection of Earth?
No, it doesn't add up.
But to tell you the truth, when I had strokes and I first woke up, the whole model made no sense to me, because I thought, here we've got the Earth in the middle, we've got the sun on one side, the moon on the other side, yet it's a full moon.
Well, yeah.
Earth in between blocking it. And I know that, you know, they're going to elevate and everything, but seriously, it took me a year or two to I had to flip everything completely opposite. It's
like
taken ages to wrap my head around the fact that the Earth could be in between the sun and the moon, and somehow the moon is full. Wouldn't that suggest that the Earth is like magnifying the sun out the other side and reducing the moon? I don't know.
You seen like almost full moons during the day, things like that.
Yeah.
Blood moons. It doesn't make sense.
No, and I can't remember if I saw them as a child, but my memories are that it's mainly a nighttime moon, but maybe I did see it during the day. I don't remember, mate. I have no idea.
Yeah, we've asked this question before. Chat room, how many people remember when they were smaller seeing the moon out in the day? Do you remember it, Brett? Do you remember it, Owen? Patricia?
Well, My mum has a story about how my sister wanted the moon. So my mum, she must have read it somewhere. So she got a bucket of water and reflected the moon in it and told my sister, there you go, it's in the water. And then she cracked the shits because it wasn't there during the day. And I don't remember any stories of a daytime moon. So I don't know.
But
are you saying like when it's full or?
Saying, do you remember when you were little seeing a daytime moon like we do now?
At any time, even a quarter.
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
I must have been ignorant, completely ignorant.
That's what my first memory of the moon, and I remember it blew me away. I was about 5. And I looked out and it was a waxing gibbous and it was up in the afternoon. And I remember saying to Dad, what's that? Yeah, no, I definitely remember a daytime moon. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah, it makes that question it, even just seeing that, I reckon. But like Brett said, the globe is destroyed. You get selenelian eclipses, blood moon. There's all these events just don't work on the globe. Like you can't have a lunar eclipse.
And then you try to explain the model to people like, do you realize that a blood moon is when you're actually not seeing the moon? It's an illusion and it's actually happened a few minutes ago. I can't even wrap my head around it enough to explain it to anybody.
I think these are things we have to work out. They're obviously happening in a different manner than we were brought up to believe. Because we're not on the globe. There's so many ways to just...
And the moon seems to roll across the sky. It just rotates. It just rolls, and so does the stars.
If we're on a globe, the horizon will be dropping down.
And we feel movement. Like, I trust my senses. I'm not senseless. Yeah. My senses tell me we aren't moving.
And they got the perihelion and aphelion and the moon.
So they want us to ignore our senses, and pretend that we're moving. And then they give you this comparison of being in an aeroplane. And I'm like, are you kidding? My body doesn't have a shell around it. Like, take the cover off the aeroplane and you'll feel it moving.
And if the aeroplane turns, you feel it.
Yeah, blindfold me and put me in the back of a car, I'm going to feel it moving.
If the velocity changes...
Don't forget, big earthquakes can cause a wobble in the Earth's rotation. So imagine what that would do.
Yeah.
That's what they say. I'm not saying that. That's what they're saying. It can cause a wobble.
So they want us to ignore our senses and pretend that something's happening.
Well, they've done very good at that, haven't they? Because most people believe in space that doesn't exist, and we've gone to the moon, and there's an ISS space station up there. We're all watching television. They've programmed us really well. Well,
it's extreme. It just goes on and on. You know, medicine's poison, and it's like, what? And laws aren't laws. Oh my God, yeah. School isn't teaching you stuff, and experts aren't experts. They're experts. They're not out in front anymore. They're the part,
yeah, when we realise, or do you feel that Australia's quite awake, or is like the living dead, like it is here?
Oh, dead as a dodo.
Pretty dead.
Yeah. There's a few awake people, but they're few and far between. You sound like a weirdo when you try to talk to them.
I say anything. I mention 9/11. 9/11. There's a bit of appetite here, but that's moon landing a little bit. But that's about where it stops. Yeah. Just a little bit of a, 9/11 was an inside job, just something like that. But that's where it stops.
My cousin goes, I don't think we landed on the moon. That was about a year ago. And I mentioned 9/11 to my dad, and he just hit the roof. He's like, nah, wasn't having a bar of it. But I did manage to slip in usury, because I was trying to talk to him about, the fiat currency, and I didn't quite have enough language. But when I use the word usury, they seem to know what I'm talking about. and then I can pull it into the banking world a bit more. But still not very good at it.
No, I'm mostly concerned on football matches and things.
Yeah, yeah.
I actually said that in one of my videos. I said that in one of my videos yesterday. It's amazing. You sit down and read the Bible, and you're tired after 5 minutes, but yet you can watch a sports game for hours and be enthralled.
Yeah.
Did you get your?
And yet all the answers is in one, and the others just dead time.
Brett, what does your family think about what you're doing then?
Oh no, I've got to. It's caused quite a bit of conflict between me and my parents. My brothers definitely have got an appetite for it. I can speak openly with my brothers, and I think my brothers are fairly aware because of the stuff I've said. They're fairly aware of what's going on. Awake to an extent, but just don't have the appetite that I do for it. It takes a certain type to be where we are, guys. It takes a certain type of people because it crushes your belief system. And for me, my journey, so I've been awake now about 2.5 years, and my journey, it's been torturous at times. Torturous.
But it's also a release.
And I've just,
it's a release.
It's a release, absolutely, yeah.
Like there's no,
yeah,
and there's no nuke bombs, and there's no aliens. Oh my God, to learn that there were no aliens invading was such a relief.
But the way I sort of, the way I come into it was I went moon landing, 9/11, JFK, and then I went to World War II, and that's what crushed me. When I learned about World War II and everything associated with that, that's when I started with the Bible. I thought, whoa, this shit's real, and that's where I got into the Bible, and I had about 12 months there where I was just like, why me? Why am I here? What is this place? What have I done to deserve this? You know? And the Christ bit for me was the missing link.
Gives you freedom and gives you peace, gives you more peace. But unfortunately, it segregates from everyone else.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's okay. That's where I keep coming back to Christ, because he's the missing link with all this. He's the missing link with it all, because there's scripture after scripture to say that you will be hated in the world, you will be condemned in the world, you will be isolated in the world. The more I read the Bible, whoa.
I mean, to learn that you can heal yourself and diseases don't exist. I know that what created.
Can you remember back? Can you remember back though before you were awake? Like, can you go? I'm quite good at this. I can go back and remember the way my particular time, and that's what I do. And I go back 5 years, 10 years, and there's no way anybody could ever have told me any of this. And you're mad. You're mad. I wouldn't have wanted to know. But when the way it started for me is a guy, and he's still a dear friend. He said, "Look, will you read a book?" I said, "All right." And I read a book about the moon landing, and then it just you can't deny it after reading this book. And then it just clicked. I thought, well, if they're lying to me about that, what else are they lying to me about? And on it went.
It seems to me that it's about getting the right information in the right way. I mean, I heard about flat Earth my whole life. We all laughed about it, but as soon as somebody gave me, I don't know, I watched a conspiracy movie and I was like floored. I was like, oh my God, and I just wanted to know more. But I'd never had information like that given to me before. I just had dumb comments and shit stuff.
Yeah, and people say stuff that it doesn't resonate with you. They just use, and I said this in one of my videos the other day, you've got to, it's like talking to a child. And I'm not saying people, adults are children, but it's like talking to a child. So when you talk to a child, to get the best conversation out of that child, you've got to talk to them on a level that resonates with them. You know, what interests them, what tone do you use, what sort of things do you talk about? And then when you're trying to wake someone up, they'll make a comment and you go, right, I'm going to zero in on that comment. I'm not going to go for the jugular. I'm not going to give them all this information. I'm just going to plant a seed. And then I'm going to walk away, and I don't even know what the outcome of that's going to be. I'm going to walk away, and hopefully they'll take that seed and go.
It's like,
and that's how I do it.
Yeah, I need practice.
Throw a truth bomb and then you run a mile.
Yeah. To me, I'm at a point where
trying to slam a whole tree right onto them.
No, you can't.
It just doesn't
Too
work.
much.
I'm got in a bit of trouble. I'm banned from my local pub. I don't know about the shop. The copper was just here during this interview. I think it's it's regarding this. They think I'm just nuts, but I'm just trying to.
You're not nuts. You're great. You are, Owen. You've got a lot of information.
I know what you're saying, though. Yeah.
Well, they want us to be on the spin ball, like going Mach 80 in 3 different directions, which adds up to about 200, God knows how many thousand miles an hour. And one of those directions lies with the moon, and we're doing 1,000 miles at the equator and 0 at the poles. How the hell does all that work? And they think we're crazy.
No, they say ships go over the curve 3 miles away. It's ridiculous.
That's where I get in trouble. I mean, I won't force my stuff on other people, but then when they drag me into their bullshit world, I'm at the stage where I'm going, no, that's not true.
Exactly.
That's a lie. I've had enough. You can't. You want to go live in that world, go live in it, but stop dragging me into it because it doesn't exist. It's not real. I don't live there anymore.
So what's that saying? You can't help somebody unless they want to be helped.
Yeah. So it's like, no, you guys go live over there, and I'm going to live here with all the happy people, where there's no disease, no bombs. We know the truth. Some of it's pretty shitty, but at least we're getting there. But don't drag me back into your world. I'm not coming there.
You can't go back, can you?
At the risk of doing that to you now, Trouble, and I'm not doing that, I just want to read Matthew 10:24. And whoever will not receive nor hear your words, shake the dust off your feet. If anyone does not welcome or listen to your words, shake the dust from your feet. That city or house that does not receive your message. Jesus said that.
Well, that's what I think. You can't. Yeah, if they want to hear, it's same as me. I don't want stuff forced on me, but when I'm ready to hear it, I'll hear it.
Yeah.
But we can't go
That's
back.
what I do now. If people don't want to hear, I shake the dust from my feet and I move to the next town.
We can't go back. We can't go back. And it's a bit like, what's normal anymore? Tell me what's normal.
Exactly. Everything's up for discussion.
There's still a lot of stuff to be learned. It should be exciting and fun.
I guess I'd rather observe than preach as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We haven't even begun.
We haven't in it all yet.
But you know what's really good for me, guys? Like, I'm 45 now, and the thought that there's people like you out there who I frank chat with and not come across as a lunatic. To me, it's just it just rocks my world. It just it brings a smile on my face, and I just think you ripper.
Yeah,
well done.
Great meeting you. I only know a few Aussie flat earthers.
I actually found spirit in quantum, and it was this religious, a lot of information, but there was this one religious scientist who was using maths to prove creation, and he just does it so well that, I mean, mathematically, this is...
well, what are the odds?
What do they call it? Intelligent design. That things are so intricate. I mean, you take one species out of, you take insects out and this whole system collapses. It's just
look at the Big Bang.
Mathematically, it can't be a coincidence. Well, in the Big Bang, I just think that's describing thought, because, thought needs space to expand in.
Well, it's biblical. It's almost a religious creation story in itself. It's
just copying the same story.
There's no stars going around our heads, expanding.
But that's what the Big Bang is. It's to take you away from creation, which takes you away from God. So, look, I've never heard of a third. You've either got creation or you've got Big Bang. I'm not aware of a third.
Well, I just think it's space. They've just twisted how our brain works. Because there's these photos that will show you our brain working, and then the neurons, and it's the same patterns as what they take of photos supposedly from deep space. I just think space holds all the mechanics of what creates matter, because matter does have rules to follow, but you have all this space in between it, and
Well, who invented the rules?
I think they're just trying to describe geometry and light and sound.
It is strange, though. It's more than that, isn't it? I mean, when I was doing hotel reception work, we learned all these other models and ways to do reception work at college that we didn't even use anymore. But we still learned them or looked at them. You can't mention flat Earth. You can't mention any of that. Why shouldn't it be one of the models or a flat Earth plane? Not allowed to talk about it. You say it to anybody who really, like, even us, we just didn't know anything about it. It's not something new. It's something that's been always.
Yeah.
I believe I was fired from a job once last year, or the year before now. I was fired from a job from talking like this once. And I can't find work now.
Might be a blessing.
I think it is, because of where I am. I don't want to contribute to the cesspit anymore. You know, Jesus guides me now. He looks after me. I feel blessed because I'm not contributing to the cesspit.
No, and don't they say that, you know, the richer you are, the harder it is to get to gold, or whatever that line is? So maybe...
Yeah, it's true. It's absolutely true. Because it's living in the flesh, and life is of the spirit.
Well, we do have flesh bodies, so I kind of take offence that we're, you know, sometimes, like, we have to be a little bit material. I mean, I do like my bed, and I'm a girl.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah, we all love company, absolutely, but you can't live for the flesh. Like you can't, you don't live for, you know, gluttony and sexual pleasure and all this sort of stuff. You know, it's got to be. There's a bigger picture. But yeah. You like I'm in the kitchen now making a cuppa. You know.
Well, we all want to be comfortable, but then once you get comfortable, that's like. So if you live a high standard, then after a while that just becomes normal and everyday.
Yeah, it's about consume. Go to work, make more money, get more stuff, get a bigger house, consume, pay more tax, retire, die.
One of the most important things is what we're doing now. We're communicating with each other. We're communicating, people are listening, other people will listen afterwards. They don't seem to want all this. And money seems to be the most important thing, not the people. It's the people. Without the people, you don't have money. It's the people that are most important. And that's the bit that seems to be completely lost. It's like a parrot. It's like it's flipped in the last, I'm not saying it wasn't being brought this way, and they turned us into a globe in the 1960s. That's 60 odd years ago. But it's like everything is flipped. It's like the more you wake up, the paragin, everything's wrong. It's like you're in the wrong place in the wrong time now.
It used to be like everybody was family when there were smaller towns and smaller places. I mean, yes, you still sort of had arguments and disagreements, and there was the occasional odd one, but everybody was still family, and so you didn't go steal from them, and you didn't, you know, you helped everybody, you helped each other out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not everywhere all the time, of course.
Well, what is money if you can't share it with people and help people?
Yeah.
That's why so many people are on drugs now, because they're just searching for answers. They can't deal with where they are.
Well, I think sometimes it's just boredom. Sometimes it's just boredom, and then it turns into habit and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. It's all part of it. I think they're flooding the streets with drugs. They're chemtrailing the skies, so we can't see the truth. It's obvious. We're not on a ball.
Yeah.
And then so they turn to drugs.
Are beautiful.
They're literally in concrete jungles. The sky's hidden from them.
They don't even have to control the skies to have a sleeper on a ball. I mean, they just put us through the school.
Fluoride, light pollution. Light pollution is enough in itself. Just existing in a city, you're not going to see shit there. And especially if everyone around you believes the narrative as well, it makes it harder to even start looking.
We could have amazing things. We could have.
Look at that weirdo looking at the sky.
Yeah, I know. I spend a lot of time.
The integral part of creation. Weird for looking at.
Windows, it's like, oh, do you see that plane next to it? Is that leaving a big trail behind it? So I get all the people talking next to me.
And the sky's blue because you're looking at water. It's not rocket science. You like that? Rocket science.
Yeah.
Yeah, needs a medium to push off.
But just on chemtrails, I think they're perfect for them because chemtrails, they work on twofold because they block the sky and they're also poisoning people. And poisoning people, they've got no free thought. They've all got autism now, and they've all got these 4-letter acronym mental diseases, and all they are is just people don't in quotation marks fit into their society. Yeah. But those people that have got these 4-letter acronyms, they're fine. They're free thinkers. They're the type of people we want to listen to. But no, we'll give them medication when they're 8 and we'll dumb them down.
Yep. Well, and it's even speed half the time. So, I mean, who'd give a child speed and all that kind of crap?
Well, parents are doing it. And why are they doing it? Because they can't control their kids and/or they're not fitting in. They're not fitting into the paradigm. And I'm glad I'm 45 and I'll never have kids again.
Me too.
Could you imagine now? Knowing what you know.
You have to homeschool them, but so you wouldn't be able to work, you wouldn't be able to earn money because you wouldn't be able to immunise them.
Exactly.
So they won't be allowed to go to school. So I think that's perfect. Don't immunise them, and then they can't go to school, so then you have to homeschool them. Perfect. That's how we pull out the next generation. And probably the grandparents are going to have to do it, really.
But did you see the Golden Globes? Did you see the Golden Globe Awards? I saw it on a Call for an Uprising. Well, nor do I, but I watch a Call for an Uprising every morning, and he was saying on there that they, at the Golden Globes, they all come out in this parody skit in these white lab coats with a syringe saying we're all going to have vaccines today, and they're running around pretending to give all these Golden Globe people vaccines.
Oh my God!
What's wrong with these people? What's wrong with these people?
It's advertising. That's what it is. Every time a Hollywood star gets cancer, I just think, oh, yeah, you poor bastard, you're going to die, but you're actually advertising.
It's all a hoax. Like this Harvey Weinstein thing and Bill Cosby and all that. It's just they're just living it up in Israel. It's just ridiculous. Kevin Spacey. It's just none of it's real.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, now we don't quite know what's the truth or not, and now we don't believe a lot of it. So we're mistrusting in a way, aren't we? So what do we believe anymore?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't believe any of it anymore. I just believe the Bible.
Is a lie. Politics is a lie. History is a lie. The globe is a lie. It's all a lie.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The only thing I trust now is the Bible.
Where did you get your Bible, for the record? Some in a country town. What's that?
No, I've got it at Tugger around here. The name of the shop, it's a big chain.
At a shop?
Yeah. It was $10. I was really surprised how easy it was to get it. KJV, it's got Jesus' words in red.
All right. I might go online. I'm just sort of in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, there you go. You can do it on your phone too. I read it on my iPad as well because no one laughed at me, but I find the words a bit too small.
Yeah.
I picked a piece of pottery of my great-grandmother's that has the Lord's Prayer on it, and it's really pretty, and that's in a place of pride in my house. Even though I'm not overly religious, I do believe in spirit and all that sort of stuff, and so I know there's something there. It's just
yeah. I've never found a description of the Earth that matches Genesis anywhere. So
no,
that's spooky. These old scribes, these old monks, how did they know so much?
Yeah, there's a lot of truth in the Bible. I'm just suspicious of it because it's all written in code, and I don't see why the truth would be written in code. And there's a lot more information in there than just one book. So it's huge.
If you read the Bible, you have to read Enoch.
It's multi-layered, the Bible, really multi-layered. And Jesus said that in a parable. They asked him, why do you speak in parables? And he said, because the kingdom of God is not for everyone, and those who seek truth must find it, or something like that. Must seek it out. Yeah. It can't be easy. It can't be easy because it's not for everyone. And I like it. It's part of what like I'm reading. I've just read Genesis again for the third time. And it was completely different this time. I'm like, because where I am now on my journey, I'm like, oh, and now I'm reading Exodus, and I'm getting something completely different out of it again, you know.
I mean, that book is written in perfect quantum maths. I mean, there's something special about it.
It's just the center of my world now.
They talk about light and radiation and all sorts of things. How do they even know about these things? It's almost like
there's a massive
civilization, the roots of these stories.
I think it's actually very scientific, the Bible. Like, God said, let there be light. That's solar illumination to a T. You know, that star in a jar. As soon as I saw that, I thought, oh my God, that just reminds me of God let there be light.
Yeah.
You know, that's God, creation, thought, information, said, which is sound. Let there be light, and bang, there was star.
Well, solar illumination, semantics. He's talking about the words and the voice. Similar to like Mark saying that the universe was sung into creation by a distant voice or something.
So I think the Creator comes to us in different ways, in different information that we can understand. Because I can't understand the Bible, but I can see a lot of things out in the world.
Well, the Bible talks about God being consciousness itself in some parts. I'll try to find the verse.
And that's really hard to even understand, get a definition of what consciousness is. I mean, I have an idea of it, but it's just big to stick.
Well, it would mean everything. Me, any book you pick up, any interaction you have. Yeah.
And don't forget, they don't want us here and now, and that's another thing that they do, because they want us in the past. You know, they don't want you here and now. Here and now is consciousness. That's all we've got is here and now. We're together now. And no matter what, we're all together. The chat room are here, you're here. They don't want us here and now. They want us with anxiety.
Yeah, they want us working a job, thinking about the future and the past.
And guilt and shame are very low frequencies. That's worse than fear. So they put us in a lot of guilt and shame. Or they let us put ourselves in a lot of guilt and shame for not living up to these monetary standards of big houses and flash jobs and a car and clothes that prove that you've got a success.
Well, we're quite a narcissistic society now. That's the problem. And I don't know if everybody remembers James from New Zealand. He thinks he's doing the laws of anxiety, and there's 8 of them. And basically, what he's saying is that when people are giving wisdom, they think it's wisdom, but it's not. They're just giving everybody their anxiety and thinking it's wisdom, because that's how we can put it.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah, he's quite good. The 8 laws are on Sun and Moon if you want to watch them. But, you know, he's very clever and he's very articulate, James.
Yeah, it's like Einstein when he abolished the ether. The letters that went back and forth, he's just like freaking out. No, it's impossible, blah, blah. And projected his anxiety and this whole other model onto the whole world.
Yeah.
Do you notice the one thing that you do get when you wake up? There is a lot more synchronicity things happening. You might be thinking something, dunk, it's there. It's either a number or it's a vision or you see it in a magazine or wherever it is, or that person talks about it.
Yeah,
and
I'm seeing a
more.
lot of numerology lately, 3s, 6s and 9s and things.
Yeah.
Very weird.
I think that's also because we've got digital clocks, you know, digital.
Yeah.
We never used to go past quarter past, like 5.
Even Gregorian clocks.
Yes, now that we've got digital, it's easy to see digital numbers everywhere.
And I don't know if everybody else feels this. I mean, not everybody's like me, but the ether's like a telephone line to me. I feel things through whatever we're in. I can feel it sometimes. I feel it with my family. I can feel it happening with people, you know, around us sometimes. I can just feel it. It's like the ether's like it tells me things. I just know what's going to happen before it does.
There's actual studies that talk about this stuff. Like when I think it's something about like along the lines of 90% of the time, any any random individual, according to this test, knows when someone's watching them.
Yeah.
They did a series of tests. Somehow we know things like this, and they even went as far as putting two people in a dark room with thick concrete and steel walls and to block out electromagnetic frequencies. And one person had a light shone in their eyes, and the other person was imagining a light, as if there's some sort of field that could go through electric barriers and things. It's bizarre.
Yeah, it's feeling, isn't it? We feel things like
they call it intuition, but
sense them.
Yeah.
And that's how we know we're not on a spinning ball.
Because every hair on our body is an antenna.
You feel that everyone's lying to you. You feel like there's this big monkey joke. There's a big
Did you know that every hair on our, like, every cell in our body is an antenna? Like, we send and receive information. We are like giant antennas.
Yeah, it's heard that
Owen,
somewhere.
Do you follow Christ?
Well, I've always like I ridiculed flat Earth at first and laughed at it, but I've never been religious or Christian, but I've always felt that I was aligned with Christianity somehow. That there was some truth there, just from even secondhand hearing verses secondhand, and I always hated how people are so quick to judge a Christian person that isn't asking for money or anything, and that are living by good morals and values. They're so quickly judged and condemned. So, like, I hated people bashing on Jesus for some reason. I wasn't even a Christian. Recently, I'd say I am.
You come across as, like, those of us within the body of Christ, we call it the body of the temple of Jesus, and you come across as somebody who would be a part of the temple, part of the body. There's a channel I want to something where the body of Christ loses its way in getting some traction on earth is the way people are portrayed. Like they're portrayed as stuffy middle-aged Christians who, you know, lead this wholesome life and stuff, and you've got to lead this life and can't be yourself. And it's not true. There's a channel I recommend you for you. It's called I've discovered him myself. It's called Brother D. I think he's called End Times with Brother D. I subscribe to him, and you look. This guy's a truck driver, and you look at him. He's a knockabout bloke, and I think he might have tats and stuff. Such an authority on the Bible. My point being is that you can be yourself and be in the body of Christ. You don't have to be this. What do you say? This stereotype. In fact, following Christ is the opposite. Exactly. And I hope I don't come across. I don't come across like that, because this whole thing we're talking about now, our seeking of truth. Jesus is truth.
Old text.
He is truth. He is truth, and he talks to me every day, and he reveals truth to me every day. I really, really encourage you to read the book of Matthew.
I've written down that guy's Brother D's channel. What was the verse, the parable you want to read?
Just read the book of Matthew. When he speaks in his parables, he's speaking spiritually. So, like when he's speaking about when your tree bears no fruit, cut it down. What it means is, so I'm my own trumpet here, but what I'm hoping to do with you now is for my vine to bear fruit with you, right? So because you're going to go away and meet Matthew, and you may come into the temple. That's what he's talking about. If they don't listen, shake the dust from your feet and move to another town. So when you read it, just look at it through that prism. That's what he's talking about. It's spiritual, and it's about following Christ and God. Yeah, I think you'll get a lot out of it, mate. And I tell you what, if you find Christ, just the way you're coming across, mate, you're going to be unstoppable.
Well, yeah, I think I'm leaning this way.
Unstoppable.
I'm losing friends, but
That's
not
fine.
losing.
That's good. That's a good sign. I've got a subscriber. His name's Forza, and he told me that the other day. If you're popular in this world and the world loves you and you're successful in this world, you're not of God. Right? And my whole life, I've been an outsider. I feel like I don't belong. I feel like I've been ridiculed my whole life, and you just go, oh my goodness, that's why. He's in you, mate. He's in you. Read Matthew.
All right, we'll do.
Mind you, it's a bit like that when you wake up, isn't it? All of it is like
it's for the better, really. Too, looking back, some relationships I've had, only looking at them from this point I'm at now, I'd rather be out learning things and researching than just, the football games.
Exactly. Yep.
I was actually injuring myself because I knew that. I know the feeling and the conversations within, just things happening in the universe. I read the Bible
now. I read the Bible now, and I can just and just go, oh my goodness gracious me, and I will be stuck on it for days because it just resonates, and it's just a game changer. It just changes the light.
Yep. I'm trying to find a verse for you guys now.
Everybody in the chat now who's a flat earther, and they encounter somebody at who's a Christian who prefer. One of my biggest frustrations as a follower of Christ is Christians believing the earth's a globe. It drives me absolutely mental, because it's demonic. Read Exodus 4. Exodus 4. It basically, it's when Moses, God's giving Moses the 10 Commandments, and it says the water under the earth.
All right.
Just go Genesis 1 through 10, and it's like, okay, tell me it's a globe now. I just put up Brother D on the chat there too.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, thanks.
Anyway, Brett, so what are you going to carry on doing then with your research?
I'm going to keep reading the Bible. I'm going to keep getting to know Jesus. But in terms of our conversation today, my next move, my next intent, unless something comes up first, is around February 6th. So, February 6th is about halfway between the summer and the autumn equinox. So I think I might do another video then, another one on the equinox.
And is there any way that maybe Owen and Trouble can help you then, as you're in the same country and now you're talking with each other?
Yeah, I've just bought a camera for this kind of stuff.
For sure. Yeah.
I take photos of the moon.
Yeah.
And then just asking for the chat room, right? Who is above the one out of you three, and who's below it?
Who's above what? We're all on the level here.
The Tropic of Capricorn.
Yeah, who's above that Tropic of Capricorn?
I'm the only one. Me and Trouble are below it. Trouble's just below it. She's basically, it goes through Rockhampton, which is about 300-400 k's north of Trouble, where Owen's about 1,000 k's north of it, not about 1,500 south of it.
Yeah, because that's.
I'd love to hear from someone from Tasmania.
Yeah, I was just thinking, we're in a line straight up and down, really, almost.
Yeah, the three of us are. Yeah.
Well, you never know. Someone might watch from there, but it doesn't seem that way. When I look at the odd people from Europe or other places aren't there, but it does seem that it goes like America and obviously Alaska, because that's part of America, and then you'll have the UK, and then you'll have Australia. Not all these other countries. It's not like, I know that Jin's there. He's living in Japan, but you don't get a big readout for Japan. And there's thousands of people watching Flat Earth from Japan and stuff.
No. know there's a few.
No, see, because I think with those equatorial type places and the places between the tropics, they wouldn't see strange stuff. So I spent 6 months in Manila in 2010 from December through to May. And what I noticed was it was exactly the same every day. The sun was in the same path every day. It rose, it set, it was cloudy, just everything was the same every day. But when I was in Singapore, I remember thinking to myself, and I wasn't awake then. I still thought the Earth was a globe, but I always thought. Get this, I always thought there was a firmament. I always thought there was a roof. And before I woke up, I remember thinking, "Gee, the sun's close to me here. It feels like the roof is like so close to me here."
Yeah, I didn't.
That was in Singapore, which is basically on the equator.
Yeah, I'd say sometimes the sun looks pretty low in the sky here as well, really close.
I just feel like the equator is closest to the firmament.
Now, I think the sun might be the end of a torchlight. I don't think the sun's thing of its own, so I think it could still move in ways we don't understand.
Yeah, and some high-altitude balloon photographs of the moon put the moon as a torch.
Right, I found it.
Like a torchlight.
All right, I'm getting hassled by the cops. They want me to go down to the cop shop, but I just...
Oh, what's happening,
Yeah,
Owen?
this whole thing. Oh, just shit. I don't know. I'll let you know soon. It's probably... I do have a feeling it's probably for flirting with a girl. I meant nothing by it, just to boost her confidence. But, you know, telling her she was attractive. She smiled at the time, but they overthink it, and then days later they send the cops every time.
The scourge of Australian society is the scourge of Australian society is social progression, and you're a victim of it right now, mate. They just think everything now, it's just eroding God, all these values, and it's just eroding the family and free thought, and you can't even pay anyone a compliment anymore. You can't pay anyone a compliment. And it's just this social progression. It's the scourge of society. And if you disagree with it, you're out the back door.
Well, I'm going to have to get you guys, well, later on I'll talk to Karen. I'll get all your guys' YouTube channels, subscribe, and I'll try maybe get your Facebooks and do another one sometime. But something Trouble said about quantum physics, this is the first verse that sort of blew me away. Like, I just opened the Bible once and thought, I'd read, but so I was looking into science, quantum physics, light, how light propagates in space, you can't see it, things like this, radiation. Anyway, the Lord, which time, well, the Lord wraps himself in light as with a garment. He stretches out the heavens like a canopy. But just that first bit, I thought was scientific. The Lord wraps himself in light as with a garment. Everything's made of light radiations, really, when you look at it, or according to modern day science. So,
what book's that from, mate?
This is Psalm 104, chapter 2. So I'm not even sure. Kathy,
the Psalms are a beautiful, beautiful book when you're feeling down about the world, when you're feeling glum, when you're feeling blue. You just pull out Psalms.
The Lord, spirit consciousness, wraps himself in light, radiation, vibration, frequency, and matter as with a garment. So there, I think they're talking about spirit in a scientific way. That's biology. It's a tiny little sentence, but it's talking about deep biology and science. And these are just monks that were walking around with donkeys. I don't know. How did they know about light and radiation and things like this?
Well, I think
that's how I see it.
I think we're much more advanced in the past than we are now.
Me too. There's no doubt.
Yeah,
and I think
there was definitely a
evolution.
There was definitely a more direct connection to God in the Old Testament, And then when Jesus died at the cross, the new covenant was formed, and we no longer have that direct link. The only link through God now is through Jesus. But I definitely think back then that God was talking to them directly.
Yeah.
And that's how the Bible was. That's how the Bible was written. That's how Moses wrote the first 4 books, because God was talking to him directly.
Yeah. Well, how do you even define advancement? Really, right now we're defining it as just technology, and we're just damaging the earth more and more. And we're saying that it's, you know, evolution, that we're making progress, we're becoming smarter, but it's not true.
Well, I've got
becoming dumber.
I've got a
But I
fridge
think-
that's going to last 7 years, and whereas my last fridge lasted 35 years. So I don't know. Things are getting better.
Yeah.
I think that's right. We're in the end days. Like, you can see the flat Earth movement on Facebook. There's way more than they're saying. It's not 3% of the population. I do bump into a lot of people that are awake, and especially even in company.
That, by the way. It's not just that, Owen. We're looking at, like, say, Australia, Europe, and America. They believe in a globe, but the Native Americans don't. The Native people in Australia don't. So it's actually a small section that believe we're a globe.
Just the Westerners, and we are the minority. White man is the minority on this planet. We think we're like a large number, but we're outnumbered.
No, it's just because we associate with other white people and listen to, you know,
yeah, we're outnumbered
news is made by white people. That's the only propaganda that we hear.
You said planet.
Who did?
Sorry. Me.
You did.
Wasn't me this time.
I did. You did. I heard you. I heard you say it.
But no.
What?
I think
Go to the naughty corner.
Even just what even your videos about this summer solstice, I've learnt a lot looking into it. I'm looking into lenses more now, just from Karen arranging this and me looking at your videos. Like, I was looking at this all years ago, but coming back around and looking at it again in more detail, I think I'm starting to put the pieces together more and more. So
music to me is, mate, because that was my sole intent. That was my sole intent when I did it, was to create conversation.
Yeah, I know.
And the fact that conversation's now stirred, and there's been, I've had a look at the chat numbers here tonight. There's been 50 odd people in this chat all night. So that means there's an appetite there for it as well. And all these people have heard it. That's all I wanted, was to create the conversation. So I'm delighted.
Great stuff. And thanks,
you'll have to come back again.
Nice meeting you. Trouble, I'll have to get
You'll
your
have
real
to come
name.
back again.
And we'll do it again soon. Maybe a better day. I'll have more sleep. And
you've been terrific, mate. Read back to you, and I'd love to talk to you again soon.
Yep,
maybe we could do it more at a weekend, so it doesn't have to be quite so early. I don't mind coming on a little bit later when it's the weekend. But Owen, I think you've got to go, haven't you?
Yeah, the timing's not bad. 8 o'clock's fine. It's just I had a whole bunch of family stuff last night, and I got a brand new camera last night, so I was too excited to sleep. And I'll share some Star Trails with you guys soon, and we'll hang out again. Might even meet you.
Woo! Oh, love you, Owen.
Thanks, Owen. Great meeting you, mate.
Thanks, Brett. You too.
Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Owen.
Cheers, bud. Catch up.
Bye, darling. Good luck. Oh, sorry. Owen's one of my first flat Earth friends. And even if he's quite quiet, he's a bit shy. He's done some amazing research.
Yeah, he was good. Great.
Yeah. So we've been going for nearly 3.5 hours. Do you think it's a good time to finish up now, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to go to the little boys' room.
If I say, before you run off, Brett, we'll say goodbye off air. Sorry, we'll say goodbye on air, but us on the panel will just say goodbye to each other off air. Okay, so, well, it's been a very interesting talk. We have talked about things, but I'm sure we're going to talk again. And it is very interesting. And Brett will probably have a bit more information next time we speak to him. And I've really enjoyed the hangout. And it's been great with Gathaka, Owen, and Trouble About, and bar Patricia, who's sitting there. So thanks very much, chat room. Mwah. We're back tomorrow. Boys Nat tomorrow. Gin in the chat room. He's on tomorrow night. So see you tomorrow. And thank you, everybody on the panel.